All right. Looks like we are officially on the up and up, man. Feels good.
Yep.
Honored
We are
ones.
live.
Yeah, we are here. There's no weekly Shonen Jump chapters this week, unfortunately. But we have a special episode in store for those of you listening on audio, and for oh my god, those of you joining us on YouTube here during our live streams, which by the way we stream every Sunday. And
Yep.
I'm I'm excited for this one, BR. Today we're going to be talking about the current state of Weekly Shonen Jump, or rather, the future state of Weekly Shonen Jump, circa the next 2 to 3 years. What we think it has in store, how much longer we think it can go for, and especially what it's going to do now that most of its flagship series are basically all coming to a close within like a relative window of each other. Hey everybody who's joining into the stream.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
How y'all doing on this fine Sunday? This fine Sunday afternoon.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Anyway, before we get like into the meat and potatoes, obviously, honored one's tradition, we got to do a little bit of a preamble. So, BR, I was thinking, right? As
Oh,
one,
really? Impressive.
thank you, thank you. You know, I like to partake sometimes,
Uh-huh.
and I was thinking about this. Do you think that Rukia's Zanpakuto is superior to Hitsugaya's? And
No.
before you say anything, let me just elaborate, right?
Okay.
Assuming spiritual pressure slash Ryatsu was not a factor, right? Just like the raw abilities kind of taken to its logical extremes of each respective blade.
No.
Why?
Because Toshiro doesn't face the same repercussions with his. Because if we're taking it to like the full power, right? Toshiro's Bankai leads to that adult form, right? Is
Okay.
that fair?
Yeah, but like
Um,
so would him like as an adult, you know?
yeah. Um, I'll say this. Rukia's ice does not freeze abilities, Toshiro's does. And to me, in the Bleach universe, that's like way more useful.
Interesting. Wait, that's
'Cause,
that's
like her Bankai is just, really cold, but Asnot can still use all of her abilities. If Asnot was frozen by Toshiro's ice, it wouldn't happen.
true,
The
but
abilities
like
would be inert.
the concept of cold is it like when Rukia uses Bankai to like slice Asnot, right? He just
Hmm.
dies. Like he just freezes to death like just completely, head chopped off, like he's done. It's over. Right?
Yep.
It's not just like ice, it's the literal concept of cold.
Yeah.
And sure, you could be like, oh, Rukia's Bankai was like breaking her at the seams a little bit, but that's only because she just got it, right?
Hmm.
Now 12 years later, you could just you could just fairly assume she's developed her Bankai enough to like, mitigate that weakness somewhat. And I think in
So
Bleach
the
Brave
thing.
Souls, hold on, I think in
Mhm.
brief Bleach Brave Souls, they said it was like, I don't know if it's, you could make the argument that it could be like potential canon, but like I don't want to, but like just as an interpretation of how this could evolve, she gave herself like roller skates, ice skates of sorts to help her move around with like less strain. So like
Mm.
it's definitely an improvement to the mobility hit that she takes. Sorry, yeah.
Sure. That's fine, but like you can compare adult Toshiro showings because to Rukia's because that adult form is something that is unrefined for him as well. Like it's something that clearly he's not used to using. And I would still say his showings as an amateur with that is better than Rukia's showings as an amateur with her Bankai. Because I like, yeah, cool. The concept of cold. I don't know if I think that's better than like, for example, obviously assuming equal Ryatsu, if Toshiro touches Aizen, right? Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu just stops working. It's just not a factor. And that's not something that Rukia has access to. You know what I mean? Also, touching Toshiro means that you're frozen. Like that's just an
Yeah,
innate
but
thing
you're
that happens.
like you're not really frozen like in the same way that you are with Rukia's, because with Rukia's like I said, right? The heat from you is
What
just
makes you say
gone,
that? What
right?
makes you say that?
Because what's his name?
Gerard? Yeah,
No,
Gerard.
no, because
Who?
Toshiro explicitly states that it's like amongst like the ice and water Zanpakuto that it's the strongest, right? It's
Mhm.
specifically ice, right? But like for Rukia's, I'd say it's like I said, the concept of cold.
But I'm not using that statement to say that Toshiro's is better. I don't really care what Toshiro like. If Toshiro is saying that among ice and waters on Pakuto, right, his are better, that's cool. But like that statement isn't why I'm saying it's better. The reason I'm saying it's better is because I think the ability to freeze other abilities is supremely like better than the ability to embody coldness. That's what I'm
So let me
saying.
ask you this: when somebody breaks out of Toshiro's ice, right? Like,
Mhm.
through what mechanism are they doing that?
Having more Ryatsu.
Are you for real?
Yes. That's literally a canonical thing in Bleach. Like we see that over and over.
Yeah, like I know, but I'm just saying. I always thought it was like a physical feat more so.
No, one Gerard has immunity to the elements, right? So Rukia's Bankai wouldn't do anything to him either, at least not long term. And two, Gerard is just significantly more powerful than Toshiro, so Toshiro's abilities don't stick the way they normally would. So
Hmm.
like if like that's why I said assuming because you mentioned equal Ryatsu, because if we're taking that out, I mean I think we agree Toshiro's just stronger,
Right.
but
Yeah.
if we're assuming equal Ryatsu, you're not breaking out of Toshiro's abilities because they negate yours, right?
Mm. Uh. Yeah. No, guys. I'm not saying the Ryatsu thing isn't a factor. Like to how they each like express these Zanpakuto abilities. I more meant that I wonder, given like the abilities, like okay, somebody with like a crazy amount of Ryatsu. Take somebody who has like Kenpachi level Ryatsu, right? And you give them each blade, right? They theoretically have like the full access, to the suite of abilities. You don't even need to make
Who
somebody that
wins?
powerful. You don't even need to make somebody that powerful because like obviously Rukia achieved Bankai, so did
Hmm.
Toshiro. Um, but it's like, yeah, not only who would win, but like I guess who just has a better cold or ice Zanpakuto, right? Like let's say it's I don't know Rukia with her blade versus Rukia with like Toshiro's blade, or Toshiro with Rukia. You could swap them out. It doesn't matter, right? Who would
Hmm.
win and like why? Essentially, like what is the inherent advantage? Because for me,
Yeah.
I think freezing like the freezing aspect or factor is just way more brutal. If from
So,
Rukia's.
okay. Rukia's thing ceases all function, right? Like it ceases all movement and shit, right? That's like the Bankai's ability,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Toshiro's does the same thing. Like he just says that verbatim. Um, but the added benefit is that unlike what Rukia has shown, Toshiro's abilities don't just freeze the physical matter that they come into contact with, or even like the Reiatsu that they come into contact with, but it ceases the abilities. So like let's say they clash, right? Rukia's Bankai would just stop having its cold effect because Toshiro's cold would stop her abilities from working. It's what he does to Gerard initially. You know how Hofeng, like if you cut it, that damage reflects onto you. Hofeng is just a Gerard's sword.
Oh,
It's
okay.
how Kenpachi ends up getting hurt a lot, right?
Right.
Toshiro cuts that in half, and not only does the blade just freeze, but the effect doesn't happen because Toshiro's blade made contact with it, meaning that not only was it physically frozen, but like the concept of the Hofeng's hope amp or whatever stopped it from working as well. So what in this example, when they make contact, because both of them like function at like an absolute zero level temperature, it's not like Ruki has this specific cold advantage over Toshiro. But not only are they equal in that regard, Toshiro's abilities would negate hers and they would stop it from working, just making her blade like any other normal Zanpakuto.
Hmm. That's interesting. It's also really crazy that like Toshiro's been in enough fights with like opponents with I don't know equal or superior Ryatsu to the point where like you kind of know he's powerful, but the showing isn't that impressive because everybody just keeps breaking out of the fucking ice. But for Asnot, the way he was like killed by Rukia was so like visceral. Like he like broke off in chunks, because like she just essentially froze him to death, and it just like he just cracked. And I just thought that was
Yeah.
like way cooler than I don't know. Like Toshiro's abilities seem to me like, oh yeah, you just got frozen in ice, but for Rukia's it's like you just got robbed of like all of your body heat, right? Like all the warmth, all the energy, quote unquote, in your body is just simply gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what cold is though. Like, I don't know. I guess I get what you mean though. About like because she took down Asnot and Toshiro didn't take down like Gerard like that. So I mean, I can get how like the sort of the like the portrayal makes it seem like Toshiro isn't as impressive, but I think this just comes down to matchup. So it's like let's say Byakuya fucking one shots I don't know like Renji, and then Ichigo loses to Yuha. Just because one person wins and the other person loses, it's not really
Yeah, I
indicative
know,
of their yeah.
but I meant even not even what's his name, Gerard, but like a lot of almost all of Toshiro's opponents are just like they're almost all vastly superior to him, with maybe the exception of Yukio. Is that his name? The Fullbringer.
Yuki. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yukio gets frozen.
but like the rest of them, they get frozen temporarily, then they break out of the ice. Like,
I mean, with like the only other person that really breaks out of his ice is Haribel, and she breaks out from like outside help. It's not something she does on her own.
same with
Um,
Loopy, I guess, because like,
yeah.
but he didn't seem damaged from like the look of it, and neither did Haribel really. Like, sure, it freezes them, right? Okay, in this situation, are you saying that Toshiro's abilities are kind of used as like a non-lethal option to defeating his enemies? Because we've seen like with Zombie Hitsugaya that like when the cuffs are off, he just kind of kills, like goes in for the kill with his
Mhm.
sword. So
Yeah.
I wonder if you think him using his Bankai all the time or fighting in this way is him trying to be like non-lethal.
Not necessarily. I just think he prioritized incapacitating them over like if he can incapacitate them quicker by freezing them whole instead of like having a drawn out sword fight with them, then that's what he'll do. And rather than waste like extra time or effort killing them like when there's other opponents on the battlefield, he'll like because like when Haribel's there, right?
Right.
Aizen's also there. You probably don't want to like needlessly go any harder than you have to. Okay, Haribel, as far as he was aware, is a non-factor, and if fucking I don't know, the anti Yamamoto, I can never remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about. If he didn't fucking like start shouting and like pounding his chest or whatever, it would have just like Haribel would have just stayed frozen, and Haribel could have been destroyed within the ice at whatever point in time.
Did you say the
Um,
anti-Yamamoto?
the thing that's meant to seal Yamamoto's
Oh,
Bankai.
Wonder Weiss.
Yeah.
Right, right.
When he starts screaming and shrieking, the ice shatters.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that was a fun little thing. I was just curious about it. Um. All right. Your turn.
I turn.
Yeah,
Um,
guys, I've been trying to like, get BR to like exactly.
Interesting. Calling Wonder Wise height is also hot is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
Um,
that one's new. That's crazy. Angel of Access. No, we're not showing that one.
that's actually insane. But yeah. Do you want to kind of jump into Weekly Shonen Jump? What we're about to talk about the
Uh,
main
yeah, let's
meat
just
and potatoes of the stream.
let's just get into it. So, as you guys know, JJK, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, all series we talk about regularly over here on the Honored Ones podcast. And we started thinking, right? All of these series are, well, let's say, let's remove JJK for now because I think that's like a whole other thing in a second. But most of these series are all in their final arcs.
Yeah.
And when you actually get deeper into it, right? The fucking hold on, I gotta burp. Don't want to gross our out. All right,
Okay. Go
that
ahead.
demon's been exercised. You're welcome, all. Okay. When you get a little bit deeper, you realize that a lot of the other series in Weekly Shonen Jump are in similar boats. Like Mashal seems to be in its final arc. I don't think Mission Yazakura family is quite there. I think it's got some chapters left in the tank. Same with Sakamoto Days.
No, you mentioned Yozakura family is. Are you caught up?
I'm on chapter 90 something.
Oh yeah, they recently introduced kind of end game ish antagonist.
Yeah, so like, okay, that's even, I guess, better or worse here. Not only that, but like Undead Unluck is also in its like
Yeah.
final arc. And then there's the big one, which is One Piece. It's in its final saga. Now this could mean 2 to 5 years, honestly, but still,
Hmm.
right? In 2 to 5 years is roughly the amount of time the rest of these other series will presumably end in as well, right? And two to
Hmm.
five years, assuming Weekly Shonen Jump doesn't cancel any new manga that they approve right now, is like 60 chapters. And, far be it from me to accuse Weekly Shonen Jump of not being able to rely on like 3 brand new series with maybe 60 chapters between them to like carry the entire magazine, right? For all I know, they could just like strike gold and find the next 3 Chainsaw Mans just bunched together and kind of ride that wave until they have to like think about this problem again in the next couple years after that. But like generally speaking, One Piece has been low key hard carrying, and then as of recently, I want to say in the last 10 years, has only slowly been, medium carrying, then sort of soft carrying as it stands right now, right? But the reason that burden's been lifted is because of like series like Black Clover, like My Hero Academia, that have been going on for, as long as they have. My Hero Academia is 9 years old this year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's kind of wild that My Hero's
Yeah.
that veteran of a series.
Yeah, same with Black Clover because they came out in a relatively similar amount of time. And what's even crazier is that they're still technically considered new gen, which is fascinating.
They're considered new gen by people who were reading manga when they came. They're not really like when you, I don't know.
I
A
think
series that's 10 years old isn't, I don't know. It's hard to qualify that as like new anymore.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'd say 5 years I think is the good shelf life to get you out of new gen, right? Like JJK I think is still within that like new gen realm.
Yeah.
Uh and Black Clover, My Hero, they're the second oldest series in the magazine after One Piece. Therefore, you could say, oh yeah, they have the most legacy readers or legacy buyers.
Hmm.
And this is speaking strictly about Weekly Shonen Jump, right? Specifically,
Hmm.
which we'll get into later in the podcast. But it's odd. It's definitely odd to see the end game of so many series approaching and all at different junctures, I'd say, of their respective lifespans. Because the weird thing is One Piece, right? Like, to kind of put it bluntly, like a series going on for as long as One Piece has for and as popular as it is it's like finding an oil field like untapped, you know what I mean? uh
Yeah.
and they've been pumping for a quarter century.
Yeah.
And as with every new generation, it seems like the amount of I don't know, longevity seems to be like lower and lower and lower, and for good reason. Manga's health isn't what it used to be. I heard, and please confirm here, like Kishimoto like retired after Naruto because he just like couldn't keep drawing anymore. um
Yeah, most mangaka don't
yeah,
really end up
like
keeping up that same like vigor or like level of quality that they do when they start because it just becomes taxing.
yeah, and Kubo's tendons were like he had to go to the hospital, for
Yeah.
there's 600-700 chapters. It's just not happening anymore. I just don't think it's feasible. I don't think it's viable.
People aren't
And
people aren't interested. Like
yeah,
that style of shonen, I think people are not really not interested in seeing, but sort of authors aren't necessarily interested in doing that either. Like you're gonna see like more 400 chapter max series. You're gonna see like some just some generally shorter stuff. And I think you're gonna see like faster paced stuff, like Chainsaw Man's first part, right? That entire thing is sub 100 chapters, right? Maybe Chainsaw Man Part Two will be like 100 chapters, maybe 100, like 150 if you really want to be crazy. And it's like imagine like 2 parts of a series that should be able to like exist and kind of stand alone almost, both existing at sub 100 chapters, right? Like Naruto, just OG Naruto, not including Shippuden, is like 220 chapters or something like that. I foresee just that part being like part one of Naruto being longer than like Chainsaw Man when it ends up finishing up part two, right?
Yeah,
So when you
like
look at it like that,
yeah.
manga are just skewing shorter. They're just skewing like less and less chapters.
Yeah, and clearly, I think Chainsaw Man, being a series that was once in Weekly Shonen Jump, is kind of the best representation of this new pacing style. Because there's that infamous Chainsaw Man level pacing meme,
Mm.
but it's solid, right? Like Fujimoto like finished part one in under what 100 chapters, like
Mm.
that's impressive, and you still got a lot of depth to the Chainsaw Man verse and the characters. Like the time and panels were used with efficiency, right? Like
Yeah.
like he didn't waffle,
Hmm.
and now he's able to tell like part two of the story, and that could be 50 chapters. We've gotten what 10, 12 chapters of Chainsaw Man Part 2 so far. And, speaking of somebody who has read it, it slaps, man. Like, it's fun. Like it's just enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's technically a brand new story. So I think,
Don't try to justify yourself. You're
and,
not slick.
and I think, okay. And I think, like, the My Hero Academias and the Black Clovers are, like, the final relics of this attitude. And they're not going out spectacularly, which is why the trend's kind of dying out. Because
Yeah.
Horikoshi's been dropping, especially as of recently, the last couple chapters, like 10, 12 page chapters, which is like well below the 17, 18 that there's like Weekly Shonen Jump manga are like expected to drop weekly, right? And Tabata had to take 3 months hiatus this past year. What am I saying? Horikoshi took like a month or two off this past year too. Like,
Mm.
there's definitely an increase in Weekly Shonen Jump manga just like taking breaks, and I don't know if it's like a symptom of the industry softening up, or maybe it's just the manga like putting their feet down. Either way, like, it's a net good. But I think the fact that it's happening to these, like, especially to these veterans, is like, yeah, man, it tells the younger guys, shit, shit ain't worth it, dog. Just let me fix up my pacing real quick.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, it's sort of before you encourage you make a manga as long as possible, right? Tell the longest possible story you can, and that bred some like really good stories. And like I love Naruto, I love Bleach, Dragon Ball, all those kinds of series are really good. But people, when you look at the repercussions, like the health, like not risks, but like sort of the expectations of, yeah, man, you're not gonna see your family for 10, 20 years because you got to be drawing and writing all the time. I mean, like Tagashi is a very good example
Yeah,
of somebody who has to deal with some of those things. And Tagashi isn't even like someone who's drawn or made manga, like even when you combine with Yu Yu Hakusho, like an Oda, right?
yeah,
It's not the case. Or like even a Kishimoto or Kubo. They're all in that similar area of how much manga they've drawn. I wouldn't want to make something that long either. So
yeah.
don't get me wrong. Um, like series seem to be skewing towards being a lot shorter and a lot like quicker pace. I mean, like if you want to use a prime example of like one of the biggest things Shonen Jump has seen in a while is Demon Slayer, and Demon Slayer
Yeah.
ended in 200 chapters, right?
Less even,
One
right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of their biggest hits, just it was 200 chapters. Not so much a flash in the pan, but it's a story that had no interest in going beyond like what it intended to do. And it's like Gotege had a 200 chapter story to tell, so she told it in 200 chapters and kind of left it at that. Um, and I think like with Gege and other authors that are coming up, I could see 400 chapters kind of being where people kind
Like
of
that is
ended
the new
at.
1,000 or 700 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's also like, while it has led to a lot of like really insanely popular stories, it's also kind of led to a kind of shift in how those stories are like presented, because manga just had more time to kill.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it led to some bad habits, we'll call them, where like certain things will just be extended for no reason. Fights will do the back forth, back forth, back forth, kind of like like battle shonen fighting tropes. It's like you power up, then I power up, then you reveal you have a secret power up, and I reveal I have like an ultimate power up, and the fight ends, right?
Yeah.
I, I
I mean like we see in something like okay, so like the training arc for example is like sort of a thing that I think you don't see as much done to like okay, so like Dragon Ball's training arcs would be like pretty long, pretty drawn out. Naruto, I don't know how One Piece does its training arcs. Where I'm at, it's not. We haven't really seen too much of those.
It did a time skip.
Um,
That's what it did.
yeah. But like JJK doesn't have like a training arc. The closest thing you could say is like maybe Goodwill.
Yeah.
Because but that is a tournament arc where some training ends up getting done. You know what I mean? Demon Slayer kind of has it in the beginning, but and sort of towards the end, but it's not really something that we see that much of. Chainsaw Man has like a chapter of training with Power and Denji versus Kishibe. And like manga just seem to not like the shorter manga. It's because you don't really have time to put on that. The training is kind of handled in different ways and like throughout the story in a more like fluid thing to do. So I think you're gonna see some of those tendencies cut out. And I think with manga, like so another thing, like outside of just the length of the manga going down, maybe I'm just cynical or like I'm just, I'm an old head when it comes to manga, I guess. I'm not reading anything in Weekly Shonen Jump in particular that I'm loving. There is some other things just in Shonen Jump in general, like Don to Don, Shojin X,
But
other
that's
like
Jump
Chainsaw
Plus.
Man now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jump Plus, right? Now Jump Plus got some bangers.
Yeah.
Jump
And
Plus got some bangers in the tank, man.
dude, and Jump Plus is like a whole other like part of this puzzle, and I want to get to it right after we thank Sudanime. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thank you for the damn it,
Thank you
YouTube.
for the 10.
Thank you for the 10. I was literally trying to like figure out what currency that is. I'm so sorry, dude. Do you guys think Kenjaku could beat 15 Finger Sukuna?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
I
be
do.
very high diff, but he could do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's
so
see.
let me just quickly, go back to this chapter count thing before we get into Jump Plus. What do you think the new standard is? Because honestly, I'd say Chainsaw Man is still an exception generally to this kind of practice of like it's the extreme end, right, that we're seeing already, but it's not like the average end, right? So
Mm.
what do you think is the like new average? Because I think JJK is going to be the series that ultimately decides that. Like however long Gege goes with JJK, let's say it's like 300 chapters, right?
Mm.
That's a nice little ceiling, right? It's a fair, like it's a hefty amount of chapters to like really build up a universe, and you could definitely like have enough intrigue and like unanswered ish questions about it to make like light novels, which he already has,
Yeah.
and I don't know, data books. Like there's definitely a lot you can do with a series that long, but and also still have it be like a relatively shorter amount of time for the mangas, to be working on it without like too much of a detriment to their health. Not good. Um,
Yeah.
so I think 300 chapters, if Gege skews there, would be like a nice new like bar, right? With
Mm.
let's say Fujimoto being like the extreme end of the other spectrum, where it's like that's what you should like 150 chapters in and out, get out, assuming Chainsaw Man just completely ends at 150 chapters, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious what you think the new average will be, or like the new ceiling. Okay, the new ceiling, the new average, and series that represent it or are currently like going to embody this.
Yeah. So I think I could see 350 kind of being that ceiling, with anywhere from
Ooh,
250 to 300 being kind of
you know,
where people like average out. I imagine Gege's gonna probably be in between that, like
it's in,
probably 300 350.
it's interesting you say that because like the 50 chapters doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a year and a half of publication, like additional publication. I mean, right?
Mhm.
So assuming JJK started in what 2018,
Yeah.
that's
Funky Monk, thank you for the $10. Appreciate it.
my
High hopes for Kaiju number
number
8.
8. Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
a lot of people do. A lot of people are fucking
I'm I'm
are
a
tying their
I'm a
flags to
believer.
the
Yeah,
Kaiju number 8 train.
I'm a believer, dude.
Yeah.
I've read. I'm caught up to Kaiju number 8. I think it's solid. I think with a little bit more, I don't know, personality, it can really like cook, dude. Like it's nice. And
Mm.
depending on how the anime does, we might also see like a big surge in popularity.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kaiju number 8 like has been pulling kind of some ridiculous numbers, right? Or might
Yeah, yeah, it
it,
has
like for
compared to
manga
yeah.
only stuff. Yeah. Um,
But yeah, sorry. The point I was trying to make interrupting you, my bad again, was the 50 chapter difference in that ceiling is, on almost another 2 years of publication, right?
Mhm.
That would be the difference between Gege doing JJK and ending it, from 2018 to like 2024 ish to like
Yeah.
2025, 2026,
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I think the ceiling is, though. I think people are they're probably going to have a fringe 400 plus chapter series, right? But I do think that you're going to see people not be interested in telling those kinds of stories because you just see people getting through their end games a lot earlier, right? And
True,
I
yeah.
think that's to benefit and detriment, like depending on what types of stories you end up like you like to read. But um, these stories are starting to they seem to skew a little bit less, and I mean. I don't know. Like even something that's really good like Sakamoto Days. I can't. I just it maybe I'm just short sighted, but I can't really imagine that going on for I don't know 300 more chapters to getting to that like 400 chapter mark. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um.
Also, Gratian Lexton. Again, sorry if I butchered your name. Thank you for the £5. See, I know that one.
Hmm.
Okay, it's pounds. I thought it was a euro. I almost panicked. I was like, I said it with a lot of confidence, bro. 400 chapters seems more reasonable. Seems more reasonable. New average. My Hero Academia and Black Clover will definitely be above it, while Jujutsu Chainsaw Man will likely be between 300 and 400. It's interesting that you think Chainsaw Man would go up to 300 and 400. I can't even imagine 300 chapters of Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit with Fujimoto's writing style, because I think Fire Punch only went up to like what 80 chapters, and
I think so. Yeah.
Chainsaw
I
Man,
think so.
like assuming he doesn't do a part 3 or something, would probably only go up to like 150. But with JJK, I think 3 to 400, like BR and I have been saying, is like seems like a good new ceiling. It seems healthier too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, 400 chapters seems like a new good, like more reasonable average, which is crazy to think, because like that's still like 10 years of publication, assuming you don't like do massive hiatuses that
Hmm.
much. um that's 10 years of your life,
Yeah.
right? That's still like an extreme end, right? Like that is still more than enough to be considered a ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be in the same boat there. Um. Yeah, I don't foresee Chainsaw Man going that long. I just don't think Fujimoto to me seems like the type of author that'll do a lot of stuff, like bounce around and not like, stick to one series for like a decade or so. Um, you know, he'll write part two, maybe tell the story he feels like he needs to tell, and then keep it pushing.
Yeah,
Um,
he's definitely,
maybe move on to more one shots or
yeah,
something
he
like a new
definitely has
series
a
or something like
shortage of
that.
ideas. Like that's a huge part of it. Like uh Fujimoto's like a creative guy, like, not to say like, no, what, that's such an insane thing. It's like Fujimoto's a creative guy, therefore the other mangas aren't. No, like,
Hmm.
he seems like erratically creative in that like he doesn't just want to do one thing seemingly.
Yeah.
And I can see like I can see other manga wanting to emulate that, right? Like, I'd love to see a Horikoshi one shot that isn't, My Hero Academia, or like, how he said he wants to draw that horror manga after.
Yeah.
Let him cook, bro. Like,
Hmm.
let him do his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be interested in seeing something like that. Um, Yeah. Now, I this is something I want to talk about.
Mm.
How do you feel about like the up and coming prospects for Shonen Jump, like Weekly Shonen Jump in particular?
Give me a
Um,
sample.
hmm?
Sample? Like who
Uh,
would they be?
s- so you got. I'm just gonna go down the line. So you got me and Robuko.
Oh my god.
Um, you got Mashal, Witch Watch, Akane Banashi, Cipher Academy. Ichigoki's Under Control, Blue Box, Mission Yozakura, Sakamoto Days, The Elusive Samurai, Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins, like those series that aren't quite as established. I mean, even like Sakamoto Days and Under the Look are kind of and Mashal 2 are kind of a step above. Like they're kind of more in the middle, I feel like. But they're still like just that like that row directly below One Piece, JJK, Black Clover,
I mean, I'd say
things
they're
like that.
well below. Like, they're still in their infancy, as far as I'm concerned, which is crazy, because if you're reading Mashal, I don't know if you're caught up.
No.
Okay. It's in its final arc. Like
Yeah.
the guy like Mashal still hasn't fought like the final boss, but he
Hmm.
just I think he's about to finish up the underboss like directly under
Hmm.
him, and then
Hmm.
obviously that fight. I think Mashal's got a good on it. No, I'll double down. I think this is Mashal's last year.
Yeah.
So and it's crazy because it would end on like 160 170 chapters, which is basically like where Mission Yuzakura family is right now,
Hmm.
and it would already be over. And 170 chapters is pretty good. It's a pretty good amount of time to tell a good amount of story
Hmm.
and kind of move on. Um,
Yeah.
I think anything else for a series like Mashal is just kind of it's excessive, right? So I think ending
Hmm.
it like on that kind of chapter count is nice, clean, tells the story, and you can move on. Sakamoto Days is a little harder though because the slice of life aspect. Um, so generally, it's like new fun character, enemy at first, and then they kind of become like the employee of the Sakamoto store. That's like the rough outline, but like I enjoy the slice of life chapters between conflicts. You know, a lot. Like I think it's a huge part of like the soul of Sakamoto Days,
Hmm.
and I can honestly, I wouldn't even be mad at Sakamoto Days for going above 200 chapters. It's got like so many compelling characters and enough to it where I could see it filling in 200 chapters comfortably.
Hmm.
But I don't think it should or would go above 250.
Yeah. And I'm in the same boat with that. Um, so yeah, like, do you? I guess like I don't know. I think about like series that are sub 100 chapters that I enjoy a lot, and like when I think of just manga in general, I think of Trojan X. I think of not even Chainsaw Man Part 2 because that's obviously above 100 chapters. But I think of Dawn to Dawn. Um, I don't know. I personally I'm not too. I mean, maybe Blue Box is in there too. Um, but I don't know. Kaiju number 8 does well. I'm not the biggest fan. Spike's Family's really good though,
Spike's
but
Family
I don't know.
slaps, yeah.
I don't know. I've noticed that like a lot of the manga I enjoy a lot more now are not they're not necessarily limited to Shonen Jump at all. Like before, you was kind of I felt like it was almost like an inherent like if you like a new battle shonen, you're probably reading it in Shonen Jump. But I mean, a lot of some of the like newer hits are not just being super localized. Um, to Jump, right? Obviously, like this next part is not about the quality of the manga. It's more just about their like numerical success. But you have Tokyo Revengers. Blue Lock's been something that's coming up. I think what is the Aoaoshi? I think is another soccer manga that's in Weekly Shonen Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Force did decently well. Like
Yeah,
obviously
like
they're not dominating the charts like a JJK, like a One Piece, whatever, right? But I'm noticing a trend of these things seem to be a little bit more like balanced, a bit decentralized in terms
yeah,
of which
which
series are seeing that level of success.
yeah, which is why I think I place the emphasis on Weekly Shonen Jump specifically, and not even sister companies or sister magazines like even from Shueisha,
Mm.
because I think it's about not only the format, but I think Weekly Shonen Jump in particular is super trigger happy when it comes to canceling new series that potentially could elevate it. The prime example, as we both know, is Phantom Seer.
Phantom Seer was special,
Yeah.
man.
Funky Monk, thank you for the 10. I feel like some are carried by anime, and I don't see a problem with that. I think a lot of them could be elevated because of the anime. Like I think Undead Unluck's anime would honestly elevate like the story like a lot. I don't know if you've been seeing the trailers, but like it's definitely like cool. And don't get me wrong, Undead Unluck is just fun. Like it's so good, right? But I think the anime is just like it needs to. I hope it popularizes it, right? Like I hope it puts more people onto Undead Unluck because honestly, I think people are sleeping on it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Undead looks good, and I think another one that could be good, like if you give a really good action animation, Sakamoto Days could go crazy. Um, but yeah, I would say a Phantom Series is like the most notorious example of a trigger happy like a premature cut because I don't think anybody thinks Phantom Seer was some masterpiece before it got
But
axed,
just wasted
but it was
potential.
it was just it was, to me, it was a good manga with an interesting main character, an interesting power system, and like great art. And it was doing, like, to me, it was like it was serving its purpose well enough. Like maybe it had some generic elements, but it was overall a fun read. And then it was just axed. And like, I'm not too salty about that so much as I'm looking at other manga and I'm like, okay, Super Smartphone was another manga. We kind of, there was a little chapter in the podcast where me and Creams were like, yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I very soon, like I very quickly realized, this had a nice first 5 chapters, but it's not really good outside of that. I'm not really enjoying it all that much outside of that. And then it got axed. So it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm liking Ichinose's Seven Deadly Sins, but I don't imagine that, or Family Sins, sorry. I don't imagine that being like a flagship series, right? Like a pillar of the magazine. And a lot of the manga that I could consider that with an anime, like a Mission Yozakura Family, like an Undead Unluck, like Mashal, like Sakamoto Days or Blue Lock, or Blue Box rather. They're kind of ending or close to it, or like around that area. Sakamoto Days, sure, it isn't necessarily ending, but if it gets an anime, when do we have a confirmation date for a Sakamoto Days anime, or is that?
No, I think it's just roughly 2025 or
Okay,
2024.
yeah.
Like,
The manga could be over by then.
yeah.
I can very well see that. Like Undead Unluck, if it's not getting an anime this year, that manga could be over by then. Mission Yozakura Family, also the same thing. That manga could be over. So it's like, it's not that these manga won't get a boost in sales, but it's sort of, those aren't continuous reasons to buy the magazine anymore, right? You're not going to be bringing new magazine readers for those manga. It's like just, oh, it's kind of weird. I have read Hell's Paradise, and that was part of Jump Plus, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I think that's
ended.
really good manga.
I think somebody, Danny Arazia, Hell's Paradise ended at 127 chapters, and
Yep.
I think it's in a similar-ish vein to Chainsaw Man's kind of pacing,
hmm
slightly slower from what I've read. Excuse me. Uh, but it still generally gets across the sentiment of like, story to tell, you tell it, you move on, right?
Yeah,
And unfortunately,
and
he moved on to Ayashimon, but let's not talk about that.
yeah, and I mean, Ayashman was in Weekly Shonen Jump, right?
Yeah,
And I
and it
think
got
like 20
canceled.
chapters in, it was axed, and I don't really mind all that one all that much. I wasn't too big of a fan of
Me
it, but I
either.
feel like I mean,
I actually
like
didn't
you
like
have an
it.
author.
Like,
Hmm?
I really didn't like it. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it was a series that like I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I feel like with an accomplished author like that, that's like clearly done really well in your like in your company before, you let them cook a little bit more than 27 chapters. Not even from like a personal enjoyment standpoint, but more from like I'm interested in seeing how that could go. Like if you could turn it around, or if this is building up to something better. Because I mean, I would agree, Shonen Jump kind of be pulling the trigger on things really quickly. Um, yeah,
I don't understand why Shonen Jump is so trigger happy to shoot down manga with clear potential. It's because they don't see potential; they really just see risk assessment.
yeah,
Like they'll see a series. Okay. So this is from what I remember of Super Eye Patch Wolf's last State of Shonen Jump video. So take it with a grain of salt. But I think he said something like they kind of look at first volume sales, second volume sales, and like third volume sales. And if they're not good, the series just get axed. Obviously, there's exceptions to this, but I think they also starting to take into account like weekly readership, online and stuff, which is super new for Weekly Shonen Jump because, it's a physical magazine and has been for, the last, 30, 40 years or whatever. Um, so I think that's why series like, what's it called? Like the Red Riding Hood one, the one I'm talking about?
yeah.
They keep promoting for some reason.
Well, they're promoting because they're selling their volumes physically now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But you know the
they're
one
they're
I'm
probably
talking
gonna
about.
have a
Do
one
you
less
remember what it's
push.
called?
No.
It doesn't matter. But like, like with that series, I think they
Oh,
canned
is
it
it just
after
Red
like
Hood? No, it's not that.
I think they canned it after like 15 chapters.
Yeah, it's Hunters Guild Red Hood. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not nearly enough time for the first volume sales to come in, so it had to be like declining like, weekly readership sales. I don't know, popularity polls, however they measure it. Like the the problem wasn't oh yeah, the potential of the series could be X, Y, and Z. I think it was like it's just not doing the numbers week to week, and it's like consistently not doing the numbers, so it's getting axed.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Didn't people literally do math to prove that Shonen Jump any more trigger happy than any other year? I have no idea.
Yeah,
It'd be
source.
interesting math to like that would I wonder how you would end up doing that equation because it's like if the series just are more popular from the jump, right? Then Shonen Jump would likely not axe it as much. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. Like it may just be the talent that's in the pool right now, right? There may not be, people may just not got that clutch gene right now. But um
Mm,
yeah, it's sort of like it's like I get it from a sales perspective, whatever you want to make sure you're not wasting like magazine space on a manga that isn't going to do well. That's fine, but I think the results currently is leading to a lack of new, in my opinion, like interesting manga. And you could say, okay, maybe they're axing as many series per amount of time as they did before, but if you're noticing that it's not getting you the same reward, maybe a
yeah.
strategy change
Also,
wouldn't be like. So it's like, oh, if it's like it worked in the past, cool. Is it working now? If the argument is if the argument is it's working right now and Shonen Jump is on a trajectory they want to be, sure, keep doing what you're doing. But something working in the past or that being the way it's been done isn't really a reason to say that's how it should be done moving forward because if times are changing, if series are ending a lot quicker, right? If series are ending like in half the rate they used to, you know, that means you're going to need more hits at a higher rate, which means you probably need to take it you need to take those factors into account. If times are changing, right? If it's like, okay, this is what worked when when we were publishing 600 plus chapter manga, now we're cutting that down to like maybe 400 chapters per manga, right? As a an estimated projection, and that's like a 5 year difference of actual publication. Cool. Let's not make a strategy change. I don't know. I'm no magazine runner, but that to me doesn't seem like the best option.
not only that, but I'm about this data, right? It might, I haven't seen it, so again, please take this with a grain of salt, but I have the feeling it might potentially be a little deceiving, because it could account for like total volume of cancellations per year, which wouldn't show a change, right? As the thesis suggests, but it could also be, if you take a closer look, it could also be a symptom of like how quickly they're canceling, not just the quantity of the cancellations. So, for example, series that start at the beginning of the year and get canceled before the end of the year, right? Just kind of hunching here, just personal hunch. It could be way, way bigger than like previous years. Like I don't know
Yeah.
that for sure, but I have a feeling, and especially if you take a look in the like last 4 years, I think that's like a relevant amount of time to like absorb the information. It could just be like, um, the like amount of new series that got canceled in a relatively short amount of time. So that could be it. Again, I haven't seen the data, but it's just like an inference or like potential
Yeah.
like I don't know fault in like the way the data presents itself. Um, that aside, I'm super curious. I guess like to kind of cap it all off before we get into like other weekly Shonen Jump or oh my god other Shonen Jump magazines. One Piece ends, right? And let's say all these series end in like 3-4 years, right? Let's say 4 years. One Piece ends, JJK ends, Gege just is just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm good. Like that quite enough, right? Um, Mashal's already will have ended at that point. Let's say Sakamoto Days ends at that point. I think that's roughly to get it to 200 chapters. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
3 years. So like yeah. Um, Mission Yazakura Family ends. Black Clover ends. My Hero ends. That's all of it. that's that's basically it.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
the
it's it's like it's possible because I knew all it takes for a new good series to pop into the magazine is literally a new good series.
series, yeah.
Um,
Eh,
but when you look at like, I mean, I guess I would ask, um, like out of genuine curiosity, but it also may prove the point, is like, okay, what in the past 2 years has been made that is a mix of extremely popular and extremely good, like quality wise, right?
Yeah, because if
Um,
it's
for
popular,
people that are
it's
like
not as good,
skeptical,
and
like
then if it's good, it's not as popular. I think is like the catch 22. But lately, I've noticed like a lot of like Sakamoto Days is great, right? Mission Yazakura Family is great, but they haven't broken into the mainstream the same way that like JJK's did. Like the JJK's blow up was like massive, right? Same with like Chainsaw Man's. They kind of like took the audience by storm.
yeah, I don't know if JJK did that great in just its manga, but like within anime, it definitely popped
Yeah,
off like
like
that.
yeah, but like it elevated it. Like okay, the anime like an anime can elevate a manga, but like the way it elevated JJK was like 50 million sales of
Yeah,
elevation.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so you can make the case that like maybe these other series just need an anime to kind of get the same momentum, and then you can see like just truly how big their potential is.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the draw um or the draw the problem is they're also not getting animes as like frequently and as quickly. Like Mission Yazakura
You think
Family
so?
just got announced for an anime, and it's been in syndication like it's like the fourth oldest one in the magazine.
Yeah, I think Mission Sakura Family is sort of like a weird exception to the rule and not the rule though.
What makes you say that?
Because like I'm assuming huh?
What makes you say that?
Well, because Unluck's getting an anime, right? And
Right, true.
that's a newer series than Mission Yozakura Family. I assume Sakamoto Days is going to get one before it hits like 150 chapters. It's probably at least going to get one announced. Kaiju number 8 has an anime, or has an anime coming. Spy X Family actually has an anime that's out, right, and
Mm-hmm.
successful already, and it's sub 100 chapters. Um, it seems that Mission Yozakura Family was just a series they were slow to pull the trigger on, rather than like that being the way they end up going about it. So like all of these things could be increased by um, like in up and coming like anime, right? It does really well for it. But I think the unavoidable truth currently, right, is regardless, like let's say Shonen Jump like, isn't doing anything incorrectly, right? Everything
Right.
that they're doing strategically makes sense. Um, you still run into the problem of yes, okay, let's say they're doing it correctly, right? They're they're managing the talent that comes in properly. You have to you have to look at it like this, right? Okay, they can't control the quality of authors that present to them. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
if the cycle before was okay, every 10 years we need at least two or three banger authors to come in and just really shake things up again. Cool, whatever, that's fair. That makes sense and that worked in the past, right? But if now it's like, okay, cool. Now instead of every 10 years,
It's every
right?
5.
Every 5 years, we
Mm-hmm.
need somebody to shake things up and has a banger, right? That may not seem that difficult, but you know, people aren't just making One Piece or JJK or My Hero or Black Clover or Chainsaw Man every like so casually like that. Like those things, it just requires a lot. I think to me, it requires a perfect storm of things because My Hero is not My Hero. To me, it doesn't reach the popularity it does if like you change this one thing and it gets handed off to like it gets done like Black Clover's anime, right? Where it has really good peaks in terms of animation and episodes, whatever, but its consistency is put into doubt, right? Cool. Like if you mess up, like you could take something that is bound for like wide audience appeal and you mess it up, you give it to the wrong studio, right? All of these things, I just think that like the shorter manga give Shonen Jump a shorter window and like a bigger like it puts more pressure on them to make everything line up exactly right a lot faster than they had to before.
Mm. I guess that like okay, I can see from that perspective, but my counter would be like I think if they didn't cancel as many manga in the way they do, or if maybe they weren't as aggressive in their approach, they could retain more of these like new age mangaka. Like for example, the mangaka who wrote Assassination Classroom,
Hmm.
kind of killing it with Akane Banashi.
He's not writing that. He's writing Elusive Samurai,
Elusive
right?
Samurai. Oh my god, sorry. Yeah, got confused there for a sec. Yeah, but like the point
Akira
still stands.
Banashi, I think is doing pretty well. I think people
Yeah,
like that.
right. But like I'm saying, the fact that they kind of have this like I don't know, good relationship with this manga who has, been successful in the past and is also talented enough to make it work with like a second series. I think Assassination Classroom was also in Weekly Shonen Jump, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm, I think so. I would assume
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, right, like that, like instead of forcing, I don't know, instead of like urging or forcing, you got to write your next Naruto or the next Bleach or the next One Piece. It should be like, okay, this story's done. You've proven your success before. Do you still want like an outlet for publishing your work here with like a new series, right? Um, because I think that's usually been reserved for like legacy authors. Like I think Kishimoto got that with Samurai 8 and didn't do well.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but like with I hate that I can't remember his name right now. The guy who wrote Assassination Classroom, right?
Hmm.
Sequel series not only exists in Weekly Shonen Jump, but is also performing well. Like that's a good thing to do to retain these like I don't know quality authors. No, it's like Gege would presumably end Jujutsu Kaisen, but he's not
Hmm.
like you want him to keep writing, keep drawing. Obviously, like you don't want him to just like put down the pen permanently. Um,
Yeah.
at least I don't. I don't know about you, but that's
Yeah.
just
No,
me.
I would be able to say that I don't want Gege to stop making manga. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but like if Weekly Shonen Jump or Jump Plus was like, hey man, loved working with you, JJK slapped. We got a spot open if you have like another series that you want to draw. And it's like, oh shit, word, I don't have to go to Kodansha. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think retaining talent is like a huge part of it because I feel like the way they kind of cancel series so abruptly leads to a lot of bitterness. That's just me speculating, honestly. But like, I imagine the manga for Hell's Paradise or the one especially for like Phantom Seer probably didn't leave on the best of terms.
I disagree. I think like to me, I think Horikoshi is like the prime example of like it probably creates this like desperation to get in. Like Horikoshi got axed twice really early
Mm.
on before he made My Hero. I think you know it's and obviously My Hero is My Hero. So I feel like the thing is, it's kind of tough, right? Because like obviously we were just complaining about this earlier, and people complain about, oh, they're getting axed so fast, they're getting axed so fast. I'm like, yeah, to some extent, I would agree. Like, I think Phantom Seer was good enough to like, obviously, if it's just wasn't selling, it wasn't selling. That's just what it is. I can't really do anything about that. But like purely from a quality standpoint, um, I think it was good enough to continue, right? Like, I think there was some clear talent. There's on both the artistic and writing side, whatever, whatever. Some of these new manga though are just bad. Like it just has to be said, right? Some of them are just not good and they're like not enjoyable. And obviously quality is subjective, duh, but Jesus. That statement is such like a nothing burger statement. Yes, duh. We're talking about a subjective art. Like whatever.
But
Anyways,
like the quality does get reflected in the sales, which is ultimately how these things keep like getting published, right? It's like there needs to be some level of like for companies there is an objective quality. Like
the quality is the number.
yeah. So like if it's basically to them, right? It it getting canceled translates to it wasn't good or, the attention or the eyeballs just aren't there, right? Like and that's kind of the framework we have to operate in because we roughly can kind of interpolate or whatever the quality of the same metrics for quality that these companies are like imposing on these manga, right? So like a lot of like you'll hear stories of editors being going to manga and being like make this more of a battle shonen, right? I think Mashal got something
Mhm.
like that, and like to them that's quality, quote unquote, and if the sales reflect that then it's even by like a slight margin then like that's vindication, like that's what they're looking for, that is good manga to them.
Yeah.
But you
For
were
sure.
saying
Yeah, I was just saying, like, when I say like a manga is bad, like obviously I'm talking like somewhat to my personal taste, and I'm also
mm,
talking like to what I see to be a general consensus of like this is boring or like this is not entertaining or in like reading and being like, wow, I can this like not even from like a super critical standpoint, like not even from a like what is the narrative depth and thematic implications of this series? It's like, no, no, no. I read this and I don't want to keep reading.
Yeah. And
So you just move on and
yeah,
like it.
and you can be
Yeah.
as like deep with the reasons as you want. It's going to vary person to person, right? But if the end result
Mhm.
is person puts it down and doesn't pick it back up, that's it's bad. Like
Yeah.
like especially if you're coming at it from like a does this thing deserve this slot in this super popular magazine, like that
Mhm.
potentially a better or more entertaining or series that could attract more eyeballs would take? The answer is always going to be like improve or get canceled.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, and Liv does bring up an an interesting thing. Minzel said like Weekly Shonen Jump isn't just there for sales; it's for people to continue buying the magazine, which is like a sale. I don't think Meat or Creams are purely talking like volume covers or volume sales, right? It's kind of like what do you contribute to people continuously wanting to buy Weekly Shonen Jump, right? Like
Yeah.
it's undeniable that people continue buying Weekly Shonen Jump in part for One Piece, in part for JJK, in part for Black Clover, in part for My Hero, right? Obviously, you get cut if you are like one not selling volumes, but also two if it's not really showing that you're demonstrating like a provable sort of contribution to the magazine's success.
Also, I neglected my brothers for too long. That's a fun username.
Mm.
It's not about like how we view the series, right? It's not like it's not a matter of us being open minded or not open minded, right? If we're just coming at it from like just reading the series as fans, as readers, and we don't like something, right? We're just not gonna keep reading it. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
the inherent right you
Like
have as a reader. Like
it's sort of the job of the author to make this new concept interesting. Like it's like okay, cool, 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 right? It could be an interesting concept. It could be like a very interesting one, a completely unique one. It is not just your job as an author to make an interesting concept. It is your job to make an interesting concept that like is executed well, right? So like one example of like a concept that's interesting in theory is like a build king, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, okay, that was an interesting idea. That was also one of the least enjoyable manga experiences I've ever had in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those two things aren't mutually exclusive. It's not that the concept was bad, it was that everything else was to me, whatever, if I have to
Right,
add that
but
for
you're
people to
you're
understand
like,
that. But
but the thing is, right?
but I
There's
am a
no point.
reader.
Yeah, you're a reader, right? There's like different ways to consume works of art, right? There's from a critical perspective and from like a personal enjoyment perspective, right? From a personal enjoyment perspective, like what we do in our off time or whatever, if we don't like something, we just don't keep reading it, right? If we're coming at something critically, we've probably read more of it to kind of like get that far to think about it critically, and B, we're judging it by like different standards. Those are also subjective to us, but when it comes to like how we approach engaging with a piece of art, it's going to be fundamentally different from how the company who's in charge of like disseminating it is. You know what I mean? Like it's not about whether or not we like Meathead Battle Shonen, which by the way, I do. I know Bjorn does, right? That's neither here nor there, right? But for the company, the reason they say that is because for them it's like a proven formula of success. So they'll give these notes to manga, even if it doesn't make sense, right?
Mhm.
Because for them that is just make this a battle shonen. A lot of people hated the transition that Mashal made, right? But like
Yeah, me
it,
included. Like
yeah,
I,
I
I
didn't,
did. I
right?
thought it was funnier.
Dude,
Yeah.
I didn't think it was funny. I thought the battle shonen part was like way better, right? So for like
Mm.
that almost it's kind of case by case, right? But from
Mhm.
their perspective, from Weekly Shonen Jump's perspective, because like Shueisha has like all the actual numbers, right? If
Mhm.
line goes up, therefore
Good.
good, yeah, right. So like
Yeah.
you're I don't want to say you're conflating, but like the way we engage with it is going to be fundamentally different from how Shueisha and Weekly Shonen Jump engage with it. And I'll be honest with you, the effect their perspective has is a little bit stronger than ours.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
But yeah, I just
Yeah, I
wanted to
think
clear that
and
up.
and I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like because there's two ways to approach this, right? There's two ways to kind of tackle it. Like we've kind of been tackling it from a like sort of monetary standpoint of will Shonen Jump not be able to sustain itself because they're not getting any sales or whatever. And I think that's less likely than Shonen Jump becoming less of a hub for once again, because I apparently this needs to be clarified, good manga subjectively,
Yeah.
right? Like I've noticed, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like I've noticed that the not only just like series that are doing well sales wise, but series that I'm just enjoying more and more are like less centralized to one being like from Shonen Jump and two just being Shonen exclusive series in general. But it's just like okay, Weekly Shonen Jump, right? Obviously you have like the ones that I would say I come to it for like JJK, My Hero, um, Sakamoto Days, and Mission Sakura Family, right? Those are the heavy hitters. But like Weekly Shonen Magazine has just like it has I think it has Gachi Kuta, I think it has Blue Lock, I think it has I almost mentioned Tokyo Revengers in that sense. That was
It
crazy.
had Attack on Titan, I think. Yeah.
I had Attack on Titan, right? Like I think it's fair to say that it's like other manga are kind of for me quality wise making Weekly Shonen Jump less of the centralized place to go for good manga in this type, right? Because like once again, I'm differentiating Weekly Shonen Jump from something like from like Jump Plus, which has Kaiju number 8, which even then I'm not the biggest fan of that one, but Dawn to Dawn, um, obviously Hell's Paradise was in there before. Spy X Family's really good. So it's kind of a like I don't know. I'm just it's like there's only so many ways to do a battle shonen within a specific formula. Interestingly,
Yeah, and
that's how I feel about that.
and keep in mind, right? Like the battle shonen format has been successful in Weekly Shonen Jump specifically, and I guess shonen as like a demographic or whatever more broadly.
Mm.
And when it comes to series that are printed in the magazine but come from a different perspective, like God, I can't believe I'm gonna use this as an example, but like Me and Roboco, or High School Family, right? These are two unique concepts that are not battle shonen heavy. It's not like a flat rule that they just like the editor goes, okay, maybe Me and Roboco can do like a tournament arc or something, right? Like that's not the kind of thing. Like obviously it's going to be different metrics for different types of series, but what we're saying is like it's usually carried by those series, right? I think my perspective or my opinion is like, again, I can't believe I'm stuck with this one. Okay, no, I'll use Akane Banshi, right? Or Banashi.
Yeah.
An Akane Banashi can exist comfortably because One Piece exists to carry like the sales of the magazine, right? It's the point of this conversation is what happens when One Piece is gone? What happens when My Hero is gone? What happens when JJK is gone? What happens when all these series that are kind of basically doing the same thing that has been making Shonen Jump like Weekly Shonen Jump like the go-to for battle shonen is it's gone. Like what happens? Like does it become the new kind of experimental magazine that I think you're implying like with those new cool concepts, right? Or do they just kind of like get rid of the whole thing and just be like, no, these series aren't popular enough on their own? Like the question is speculative in nature.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
like we're not saying don't do anything new, only meathead battle shonen.
And in fact, like I would say no, don't. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the manga that I enjoy like are not only not just like battle shonen or like maybe they're just different takes on battle shonen, but like they're just like you someone saying like, oh, they're trying multiple demographics, and like, yeah, that's true, but when you think Weekly Shonen Jump, right, I promise you the first manga you think of is like the Weekly Shonen Jump like top 5 manga.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to think of anything that is not a battle shonen because that's kind of what it's branded itself as, right?
Right, and
Akane
that's
Banashi exists within the magazine. Me and Roboco exist within the magazine. Neither of those are like battle shonen manga, but when you look at like the ones people tend to generally, right, go to, you look at a JJK, a One Piece in the past, you look at a Naruto, a Dragon Ball, a Yu Yu Hakusho, a Hunter x Hunter, a Bleach, right? In those, you're going to have your fringe Gintama, which kind of blends two of those together.
yeah,
You're going to
or
have some
your
fringe comedy
Dr.
series,
Stones, right?
or your Dr. Stones,
Yeah.
right? But Dr. Stone was never MHA, and that's a good thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be MHA in terms of like how it's written, but when you look at like from a company that's like trying most likely to be like purely profitable, it's like, you
Most likely.
probably would want more MHAs, more One Pieces, more JJKs than you want that are not that.
Yeah, and like I think Doctor Stone's, I don't know, advantage was like it did everything else so well that like
Mhm,
it it executed its core premise consistently, like faithfully, that
mhm,
it was able to like maintain its success and end naturally, right?
mhm,
Without those make it a battle shonen, right? Kind of notes.
mhm.
But for something like Build King, it got canceled. It is no longer with us. I'll let you guys
Huh.
infer. like,
Yeah,
uh,
saying that like that's been the trend for like only the last 2 decades is kind of crazy. Like it's only been that way for 20 years. Okay, that's
yeah, and
it's
also
been that
like
way for 20
it's
years.
been that way longer if you count like JoJo's and Fist of the North Star and like these classic shonen series is like battle shonen.
Yeah.
So it's there's definitely a lot more. There's definitely a lot more to the like conversation about like what gets printed in the magazine versus what gets successful versus what they think will be successful, and then ultimately how these coincide with audience expectations of like what they want from the magazine, right? Because I
Mhm.
think if I like what's the shoujo version of like Weekly Shonen Jump? I forgot the name of it, but it's like a shoujo beat. Um, it's like imagine in shoujo beat JJK is like a series there. It's like it probably won't do as well, right? Because it's like the wrong environment for it. Like
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of factors that go into a series popularity or getting axed or getting popular.
Yeah. And like I think the thing is that's
Oh,
interesting
sorry.
with that too is
Spy X Family, really good example. Not a battle shonen, exploding.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. Go on.
yeah. I was just gonna say I think like I mean I think one of the biggest things is like outside of this quality, it's quality of anime adaptation. Um I think it's probably why like you don't see that many shoujo pop off. It's like can you think of like just a really well done, like revered in the past couple of years, right? Because you can find some classics. Like, what was the latest like really good shojo anime? You know what I mean? Not manga, because you can think of those, but
Yeah.
like the last good anime that's like it's adapted the full story that started recently, right?
Oh, see, I don't know, because like
Yeah, it's
for
like
me, it all
and
fell off after Iran.
okay, buddy. But that's kind of what I mean. Like it's like the anime dictates a lot of that. So obviously we're putting a lot of the onus on Weekly Shonen Magazine and stuff like that. But if all of these, let's say the next four series is Mappa does what Mappa does, right? And it just says all of them are mine. I'm adapting them, whatever, and they
Actually,
do them successfully or something.
I think Xenolith actually brings up a great example. Mishima has been with Kodansha like basically forever. All his new series are like published in with Kodansha. Fairy Tail, Rave Master, from what I remember, and now Eden Zero, right? And
Hmm.
Mishima has always been consistently him as far as like quality, sales, like all this is concerned. And you know
Hmm.
what? That kind of consistency is rewarded because his longevity, his like I don't know, his this little like piece that he's carved out for himself is uniquely
Hmm.
his, and it's all because like I think of a positive relationship he's had with this magazine for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think like not having that relationship with manga and editor and company be as hostile is also a huge factor.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I sometimes wonder like how Shonen Jump like a manga could feel about like their relation to it if they feel sort of resentful for the changes they have to make and things like that. Like obviously they can't say that, duh. But I would it would be really interesting to be like a fly on the wall as they like ramble or like rant about like God damn bro, I did not want to add this. Like I'm making a comedy manga. Why is there a tournament arc? You know? It'd
Yeah,
be interesting to see that kind
I,
of stuff.
I definitely think those conversations are going to be a lot more eventful with some works over in others.
Uh,
Um, I would definitely like to see. I think the Phantom Seer is the one I really want to get an answer to because that one I think is the one that we know the least about, like its reasoning. Uh, and from what I've ascertained, through the
uh,
grapevine, is that it was just like some kind of personal drama.
yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
speculation.
Bro, listen, I don't even care. I don't even care. I don't even care like why. If that dynamic duo just comes back, bro, I whatever. Cool. Make something cool. Um it would be crazy. Like, all right, hold on, guys. I kind of still want to see how Phantom Seer would like genuinely end. So name it something different, and then just write the same story. Thank you.
Literally,
Appreciate it.
right? Just I don't know,
Uh,
make the hair colors like black and white. I don't care.
eh,
I mean, um, I've seen, you know, I've poked around. I've seen some of the series that have gotten axed, and I'm like, I can't believe they went on this long. I think the hard boiled cop and dolphin one, Candy Flurry. I'm just like, they tried it.
Indie Flurry didn't go on that long, did it? Though
I know, but
it wasn't that long of a
I don't know. It
series.
was just really funny that like,
Mm.
I don't know. It was like Battle Shonen with like candy, and it's like they just
Yeah.
I don't know, played up the Battle Shonen part. It's just ah. But that's, you know,
Yeah.
my own opinion. I think the industry needs another Soul Eater. No other series had that vibe. Aside Fire Force, it doesn't count because it's a prequel. Was Soul Eater shaking up the industry? Was that what Soul Eater did back then?
I think Soul Eater definitely was one of those series. Yeah, I think that's why people are so excited about Fire Force because obviously same author making another series. You're like, damn, bro, a goat coming back. But I don't think he was in Shonen Jump. I think he was in Weekly Shonen magazine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Actually, it's funny here in the States. I think that and new series that I get into, courtesy of, you know, my co-host here, Ragnar Crimson.
Jesus, peak, peak, peak. Yeah,
Yeah, are both published by Square Enix. Square Enix.
interesting.
Yeah, that's, you know, a bit of a curveball contender.
Hmm.
You know, we got a new enemy has entered the party.
Yeah, yeah. Ragnar Crimson is dope. If you guys haven't read that, quick plug, go read it. It's
Yeah.
dope.
Um,
Um,
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I worry about the magazine because there's this kind of like nexus point that it seems like all these years are heading down, and I'm, you know, I'm getting like secondhand stress. I can only imagine what the stress is like for the editors and like higher ups there.
Just said secondhand stress. I'm sick. Um, yeah. I honestly worry about it from the standpoint of, eh, okay, so like obviously you're worrying about it from sales, and I'm like, yeah, we're talking about that for the sake of like talking about it because I think it presents an interesting discussion, like pattern recognition. I look at it from like the perspective of, damn, bro, this is kind of the go-to, you know what I mean? Like Sundays are kind of like almost like a
Yeah,
ritualistic
no,
thing,
it's all
but
encompassing. Like if the magazine falls,
yeah,
obviously it's not going to just be like, ah, man,
this $1 million company failed.
yeah,
This
like
hurts my feelings.
right, like no, I meant at it. I meant secondhand stresses in like the culture of Weekly Shonen Jump. You know, the weekly chapter reviews that like entire channels have been built on.
Mm.
Discourse like with peers. Hell, dude, we're kind of like that. You know, honored ones with like weekly chapters. Like,
Yeah,
man, there goes our business model.
yeah. JJ, I'm gonna need you to make JJK Part 2 expeditiously, buddy. Go ahead and, guys, as soon as you end part 1 with whatever you do, go ahead and just start that next one up in the, you know, we'll give you a month.
Thanks, bro.
Nah, but yeah.
Good looks.
We appreciate that for real, for real. You keeping us afloat. Nah, but yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, man. It's
um,
it's interesting. It's just interesting to look at Shonen Jump because like sometimes I'd just be scrolling through on Sundays and I'm like, damn, I don't want to read a lot of these. Like I don't read them, but I'd be looking at them just like, damn, Fabricant 100, huh? That's something.
that is
And I just
indeed
move
something
on.
that exists. Yeah.
Yeah. JJK Next Generations with
To-
Atadori. Jesus Christ, man.
Dude,
Listen, I'd rather Gege just not pick up the pen again if he's about to like bore to that shit. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Creams, if you want to know
Nah,
the
bro.
shoujo equivalent of JJK, it's Queen's Quality. Oh, I never heard of
Oh,
it. Lord God, don't tell Gege to expedite more fights. We can't handle that. Listen,
hmm.
you know what Gege needs to do? All right, you know what Gege needs to do?
He needs to put Megami in the manga more, if I may.
Uh,
Megami and Miwa,
oh my God,
two
no.
main characters. Let's fucking do
Honestly,
it.
what I want from Gege is like some kind of statement of intent because I cannot, for the life of me, figure out when this manga is coming to an end. Like I
Posted
don't
statement of intent.
like
Need it now.
dog. Okay, listen. I don't know if you see the discourse on Twitter when it comes to JJK, but it's like, yeah, bro, I can't believe like this is the end game. You know, Kenjaku's about to like wrap everything up, and then the series just ends. I'm over here. I'm like, are these fucking Twitter users gonna gaslight me into thinking it's ending like this year? Like what is going on? Where is this fucking sentiment coming from? Because from my perspective, I'm like, Kenjaku thing gets like wrapped up or whatever, and then you have to deal with Sukuna slash Itadori. And sure, you could be like, oh, you can kind of do it in like all like one kind of sequential order or whatever. But I'm like, some breathing room maybe, because like the scope of like what's going on in the story is just so massive. I can't imagine just kind of a blasting through to the end here. Like what's going on? Like are we in the end game or not, Gege? Please.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It'll end when it'll end. All right. If you want, I can call up Gege. I can ask him. Right. He's not supposed to tell me that kind of stuff, but if you need me to, I can call him up. I can get him to tell me the details. But yeah, I'm kind of I like the thing about like an author's like statement of intent or whatever, as you put it, bro. I don't really be taking them like at their word because I'm like y'all are liars, bro. You guys lie. You don't know what you're like. I almost take it beyond lying. Be like you're a fraud. You don't know. You have no idea. You just be writing this shit, and one day you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then that's just it.
Yeah, they're not built for the long haul.
Mm,
Is that what you're
yeah.
saying? No.
I'm not saying they're not built for the long
You're
haul.
saying
I'm
you're saying you
saying
could do better, right?
no. I'm saying they don't know what they're talking about. They be like, I'll end next year, and then like next year comes, they're like, Jesus Christ, I'm not even halfway done with what I want to do. Yeah, they
Uh,
don't know what they're doing.
oh, troop. Death of the author. Author intent is meaningless. Not when their intent is to stop writing.
That not everyone can make a Legend of Korra. Jesus, I'm so glad they don't.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Fuck. You
yeah,
hear about that Prince Zuko movie? I might be cooking. You know,
best character in Avatar. They better give him a movie.
bro, I'm genuinely surprised with how uncommercialized Avatar is because, like, you think with that kind of success, right? Like, Dragon Ballify it, beat it into the ground. Because, like, I
Don't.
no, I'm surprised they haven't. Like that's so weird to me. Like, I hope the Netflix thing finally gets like made because they've been teasing it for years now. And at this point, I'm just kind of like, it's not even excitement; it's just impatience, or I don't even know if it's impatience anymore. It's wrath. Like, bro, like, come on, hurry up. Like, piss or get off the pod. Damn.
It's not. Jesus, am I getting cooked for saying I don't like Legend of Korra? That's crazy, bro. That was, I definitely like. I'd be saying some stuff that I'm like, yeah, that's a like I'm right, but I can understand why people disagree. Legend of Korra, Jesus, man, I didn't expect people to ride for Legend of Korra like that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm flabbergasted. I thought we all kind of just agreed like
I
it
mean, My
was like
Hero.
it had good elements.
Somebody said My Hero is probably the easiest series to make a sequel for. They made like a sister series for My Hero Academia, and it's
Yeah,
like about over, I think.
it just is over. You come by
Yeah,
her team of
it's
vigilantes.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Bro,
over.
do you see like how many fucking spin-offs My Hero has? Because like the team up missions, vigilantes. I think they do one where they're like,
Vigilantes is really good.
I think they do like the chibis. Like My Hero's got like a lot of like supplemental
Yeah.
material for some reason that just like
Hmm.
nobody talks about. I'm just like,
Yeah.
where's all this coming from?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. It's it's something. Vigilantes is the goat. See, you know ball for real. You get it. You get it. Coach is dope as fuck. You get it. You get
JJK
it.
is definitely over 300 chapters. Culling Games hasn't even properly ended yet. We have to cover the 2 days before Kenjaku versus Yuki fight. True. I mean, Kenjaku said that the Culling Games were effectively over. I think at the end of his fight with Yuki and Tengen, if I'm not mistaken. Just from what I vaguely remember. So, like, what now?
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Like that. Like. Never mind. I was gonna say something crazy,
No,
but
no, no.
yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say something that probably would quite make sense, right? Considering what we do here. I was like, bro, I don't even be thinking about JJK that hard. But what I mean is like in a predictive sense, because like barring a few circumstances, it's like this motherfucker is so hard to predict, bro. Like that, I don't know. I just be looking at the chapter, be like, okay, damn, all right, that broke my ankles again, just on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis or whatever Gege would like to drop chapters now. Um,
When do you think it's ending? Honestly, what is your take on the when is JJK ending phenomena?
Bro heard everything I just said and then asked me the question that is like
No,
worse suited for that.
no,
You're
no,
an
no,
insane
no, no, no.
person.
Like realistically, right? Like how much more you think Giga got in him?
Uh, bro, doubled down. I'm sick. Like I said, 350. I think I said that earlier. 350. I could say 350.
Oh, I did. I just did not clock that number. I think because we were talking about like the chapter number specifically, but I didn't like register that it was like for JJK specifically. 350 is interesting, because you would kind of then agree with me that the Culling Games just doesn't seem to be like end game material, despite like the effect that it's currently having. So I'm
I
curious,
wouldn't.
like I'm curious how the story beats go for you to make you think it like goes to 350. Because for me, I said Kenjaku, then Sukuna, and then that's it. You kind of wrap it up. So I'm curious like what that timeline
I
is like for
mean,
you.
the reason I don't think it's on its final arc is because I think for something like JJK, you're gonna get a pretty blatant, the story is now in its climax or whatever, right? Like Black Clover got that, My Hero got that, One Piece got that. Like my thing is like at least for like the why I kind of trust that the Cooling Games isn't it, or at least even if the Cooling Games is it, like this arc rather, it's not like we're not in that part yet, is because it just hasn't been said that we're there. Um, so like if something like Black Clover is getting a, you know, all right, final arc time, right?
Okay.
Like I'm letting you know blatantly, JJK is getting that in my mind, and since JJK hasn't gotten that, I don't think we're there. That's all.
So, like I said, right, story beats. Like, what is your, I don't know, like what is your prediction for how Gege splits up the remainder of the story?
I guess Kenjaku and Sukuna would be the answer. Kenjaku, Gojo gets unsealed. Sukuna and Gojo fight. Sukuna loses. Well, Miwa kills Kenjaku.
Oh my god.
Obviously, that's done. Sukuna gets Gojo gets unsealed. Sukuna maybe beats Gojo. Not sure. Don't know. And then Sukuna and Yuji die, or something like that.
Yeah, I can definitely. Man, it's very alarming. Do you remember that thing where he was like, Gege was like, "Yeah, I already know Megumi's ending. I just gotta plan out the rest of theirs." I'm like, "Yeah, damn, can't
I've
believe
I,
Megumi's gonna die, bro."
I've already said this, bro. Like, listen, I've said this multiple times. If Megami dies
On the
like well
podcast.
before the
Yeah,
manga's over,
you drop it. I know.
I'm
I
dropping it,
remember. I
bro. I'm
remember.
done. I'm done. I'm done, bro. I just won't take that kind of disrespect. Like I'm like I just won't, bro. Because nah, bro.
Yes,
Nah,
I
that's
forgot how
insane.
personal it was. I got to imagine Megami ends pretty late into the end game, so by then, I I mean you're gonna, bro, those fraud allegations.
Oh yeah, gay. I'm gonna become Gay's biggest hater.
It's like, y'all, Gege can't write. Yo, you're gonna pull a me.
Well, you mean how we were with Kubo?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, do you want me to pull up the recordings
You don't
or the
have any.
videos I downloaded before you? Oh, anyways, I was like, wait a second, I know where we are. Relax. Yeah, but yeah, I will say this: making me die, like making me dying at the end of the series. Okay, like yes, I'll go into a depression for 6 months, but I'll survive and I'll be able to come out of it and think, you know what? Maybe that was the best decision for the narrative. If Megami dies basically before like the final couple of chapters, bro just made a mistake. Bro just wrote incorrectly. You did it wrong.
Where
So
you're like, you know how Murata does redraws? Why don't you try out one of those, Gege?
yeah,
Huh?
and bro, like we've seen Murata redraw like to the point where like the entire story like changes a little bit. I
A
was like,
little
okay,
bit, bro,
oh,
drastically.
well, a lot, yeah,
Yeah.
drastically. It's like okay, Megami died. That's crazy, bro. Do a redraw. I know you've never. I mean, you've done that before. You fix shit in volumes. Fix this one in the next volume. Keep them alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's either you fix it or it gets fixed.
Yeah,
Without
Megami earning a good death would complete his character cycle. Megami can get a good death like in the like final chapter of the series when he's like an old man
man there.
peacefully.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
this motherfucker better not die in battle. What the hell?
Bro, I can't believe Giga's gonna kill Megami, Yuji, and Yuta. That's crazy.
Huh. Yeah, nah. Yuta. I can like. I don't want Yuta to die. He because he's real. But like, if it's between, because like I think Megami or Yuta have to function as that failed prodigy almost. That's what my mind goes to. And it's like, okay, well, I like both of the characters, but if it's between Yuta being a failed prodigy and dying, or Megami being a failed prodigy and dying, ah, you
Yeah,
two are gonna
yeah,
be
I,
meeting Rika,
I,
bro.
I know.
Like,
Oh
listen,
my
like, bro,
god.
bro gets to meet
Oh my
Rika. Like, you
god.
just,
That's
bro.
crazy.
I don't know, bro. Like, maybe, nah, yeah. Can you, it would be nice if you like lend making me Rika though before you die. Like, that'd be appreciated.
That's crazy. That's
I would
so
appreciate that.
wild, dude.
Hmm.
You know, it's funny you bring up failed prodigies because I think about like, you ever think about like the oversaturation of prodigies in like Battle Shonen?
Uh, yeah, kinda, yeah.
I think Bleach is like kind of more egregious with it because like
Hmm.
like I think the only like normal level fighter in Bleach, it's a bit of a hot take here, is Ikaku. A lot of hard work for very meager results.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in any series you see where like the person is like above most people, it's in part because they're prodigious. Like that's just how it works, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're seeing a strong character, they're above average, right? Like they are different than most people, and if they are different than most people, they're probably in some way, shape, or form like some variety of prodigy. Like every relevant character in JJK is a prodigy or special for some reason. Yuji, Megami, Yuta, Gojo, Toji, Maki, Geto, Kenjaku, Sukuna, like Yuki, all of them have some sort of like prodigious natural born talent that like you can't really like get around. And like for the people that are normal or normal-ish, you're Nanami, you're Mei, you're like some other random dude, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it's
like
yeah.
for JJK, I think they have a better out, if you want to call it that, because canonically, Gojo literally said, "The wall of power the conservatives have been trying to like rein in for all these years is kind of manifesting with like just stronger quality sorcerers now." So like Toto, like Yuta, like Megami, and now
Hmm.
like Yuji. So I definitely think there's like a better explanation for why. But like I think in Bleach, like it's not a negative. It's just like it's a funny-ish observation because like Silver Soul said, right? You got Toshiro, Ichigo, Gin, Aizen. If you really want to like poke around, you can actually find more. Like, okay, I have to like suppress my gag reflex for this. Renji is technically a prodigy. The
Yeah.
guy achieved Bankai off screen in a way that like canonically speaking only Urahara had done before, making him the second person to achieve Bankai like that. Before Ichigo even, right?
Hmm.
He got so much stronger as the series progressed to the point where he's like leapfrogged Ikaku, his like old master, and by the end where he's like, fucking figured out the true name of his Zanpakuto.
Hmm.
Minsei, you're on thin ice with that take, bud. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, Renji.
Like so I agree that Bleach does it a lot, but I don't think it necessarily does it any more than any other series like that I've read it, like any other battle shonen really, because like I think every battle shonen where you have a main character that's relevant, they are super talented or super different than the norm or like super prodigious because that's the only way they'd be like a relevant person or like super lucky or some way, shape, or form. Like there's some fucking bad. Why can I? Okay, Naruto obviously wouldn't work for you. You don't really know what that is because you don't know peak fiction for real. JJK we obviously mentioned. Um, like Chainsaw Man does not have that many characters that survive that long, so you can't even use that. It's like
um,
Denji. It's like Denji has like the
yeah,
Chainsaw Devil inside of
My
him.
Hero
So yeah,
Academia doesn't really like account for prodigies and like in from like an intellectual
I mean,
sense. It's more like they're powerful and they happen to be prodigies. But like if you're a prodigy as like a fighter and you have a shitty quirk, you're just like
yeah, I would say the prodigiousness in JJ, not in JJK, in My Hero is your quirk, and the people
yeah,
with the best quirks are the strongest.
right. But
Like
like
that's why you won't see Deku with no quirk doing shit. Like
true. But
he's just
like
a dude.
like I don't know, with something like Bleach, it's like especially funny because technically speaking, even the humans are prodigious, and like even Uri, like Uryu's even a prodigious Quincy. It's it stands out is all I'm trying to say, right? Like I think Kubo has like obviously slowly introduced more like normies into the mix, if you want to call them that. So you have your Ikakus, you have your Tetsuzaimons that are training day in day out to try to like not be left behind, but like by like the monsters that surround them, and
Hmm.
it's he's
I don't know,
like
man. Bleach has more normal people than I would say a lot of other manga do. The thing is, nobody cares about the normal
true.
people.
Like, okay,
Like you
so
don't care
relevant.
about the visored.
I mean, I
Yeah,
care about
yeah,
I like the Vizards, right? Um, like I like Shinji, but he's also pretty powerful. Uh,
yeah. But powerful and like prodigious is like I don't know. I find prodigious to be different than just like you're a strong dude. Like,
right, but like
um,
it's odd because like Shinji is just we know so little about him, right? That the stuff that we find out about him as like the story goes on, and even if you want to include the light novels, he's strong. Like he's crazy strong, and he seems to be relatively young, but he keeps getting like in a weird way, he's almost kind of like measured up against like Aizen, which is unfair. But I think he's like a mid to high tier level captain. Like
yeah,
I'd
he's
say,
decently strong.
yeah, I'd say he could like, especially like in Bankai or something. Like he can make some higher up sweat.
Maybe, yeah. So people are like, "Oh, Naruto had too many whatever." Obviously, this same thing is kind of said to Bleach. I'll just ask you guys this, chat. Can you name any top 10 relevant power wise character who is not stated to be like super special, super lucky, super talented, or a prodigy? Like in any battle shonen where that sort of like idea exists, can you name like a top 10 relevant power guy? Like in any manga, right? Not just Naruto in anything. Like genuine curiosity, right? Like, yeah, Saitama broke his limiters, so he's
Yeah,
super special.
it's
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
The thing I'm trying to say is like obviously there, I think there's an art into making weak characters. There's definitely a way to be like, okay, you're not great on the battlefield, but you can do this and still be plot relevant. Is like I said, it's an art form, you know. Um, you have a kind of similar thing. Oh, Kubo actually did it right with Urahime.
Mhm.
You know, awful at combat, right? She just don't got that dog in her for like drawn out like battles
But
to the
she's still
death,
a prodigy.
right? In like healing and defense, right?
Hmm.
But she's not cracking the top 10.
Yeah. And like you say Sakura, but like Sakura in part one is like more talent for chakra control than fucking Naruto and Sasuke, two of the most talented characters in the series. Deku, like Saitama's a prodigy of effort. No, Saitama's effort does not directly correlate to the amount of power he has, right?
Yeah.
Like
It,
it is a special case of like a limiter being
yeah.
broken, which like for example, Garo in his training, I would say puts in more
He's a
effort
prodigy.
before
No,
he
Garo is
Garo,
actually
well,
a canonically a
Garo is
prodigy.
no, Garo is a prodigy. What I'm saying though is Garo doesn't get the same results, even though I would say as like a martial artist, like fighting just
Everything.
like fanatic, he tries harder than Saitama did in like his year of training, right?
Yeah.
Like Saitama's training does not correlate properly to the amount of power he got. Like it's a special circumstance.
Yeah.
Um,
Saitama's video is coming for me. Right.
yeah. Even if you look at
It's on the
yeah,
docket.
if you is I don't know if Berserk is a battle shonen, but
Yeah.
I
It's
like I
not a
mentioned guys.
shonen.
Yeah, it's not a shonen. Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, you look at Lee. Lee's a genius of talent. Not a genius of hard work. Like that's just stated. It's like, okay, cool.
That just means he
Yeah, it's
works
like
really hard, doesn't it? Like,
well, he's saying like so a character. I don't know if you know who Kakashi is. He just says like that can't just be achieved with like basic hard work alone. He's like you have to be like specially built for this shit. And it's like yeah, okay, cool. So there's like even and then like what about the Otsutsuki? They aren't talented. They're just strong. They're literally a race of aliens that are primed to eat chakra fruits that make them stronger. Yes, they're special relative to the general population of Naruto characters.
I mean,
Um,
actually, in series, I'm thinking about it now, right? In Black Clover, to be a royal is almost like a synonym for being a prodigy because, like, okay, in Black Clover, it's almost impossible for you to be a prodigy without being a royal, right? You can just
yeah.
be like a average noble, have pretty high magic power relative to the rest of the verse,
Hmm.
but if you're a prodigy, you're usually of noble blood. Like is like
Yeah.
disgustingly powerful, And
Yeah. Yeah, like ridiculously so. Look at Asta, right? Okay, sure. You can say Asta is not a prodigy in the normal sense, but he lucks out in being like a and please, before people like lack nuance, I'm not saying his circumstance is like he obviously has to use hard work to make use of it, but if you take away that circumstance of him having anti-magic, he's just a strong dude,
okay.
right? That's it.
Also,
Like you, yeah.
sorry,
Go ahead.
finish up because I was gonna switch to Mashal
Oh,
for a second. Yeah.
I was just gonna say like Asta's just like he's just a guy who's really strong without that circumstantial anti magic.
Yeah, and for Mashal, he was literally created to be the vessel of like the main guy, like the main villain in the verse. Like he was just a part of his overall blueprint for just like for storing his massive power. That's why his body is like canonically like that.
Yeah,
Magna is actually a really great example, right?
but he's not top like I said, he's not top 10 in the
Yeah,
Black Clover universe.
yeah, but
So once again,
like
you can find people like because that's the question I'm asking. People are like, it's like yeah, sure, you can. There are I can probably name dozens of people in Bleach that I'm like, yeah, they do something and they can do something. They're not a prodigy or Naruto, whatever. But it's like once again, we're talking about characters that are on the forefront for the most part of the series that are main characters and that are consistently contributing to the story in like a combat sense. It's like yes, Magna has that one fight where like he uses his circumstances to help him, but that doesn't make him top 10,
yeah,
you
it
know?
really doesn't. And that was also stated to be like a kind of one and done thing.
Yeah,
Um,
like he can't do that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like it's funny actually because Magna's like lack of talent is such a staple of of like why he needed to like fight in that way because
Hmm.
he couldn't even clear like the bar to learn how to improve his power, right? Like
Hmm.
that was like the whole that was like the whole like point of Magna's essentially character arc because he went to the Heart Kingdom. I am so sorry because I just realized
Mm.
I, is this not canon in the manga? Because it's canon in the
What?
anime that he goes to the Heart Kingdom, realizes he's dog shit, and like has to go back. And I'm just like, is that in the manga? Oh
Hmm.
my god. Okay, I'm unsure, but basically, I don't know. I liked the inclusion of it in the anime because I definitely know it was in the anime. But like, he like you have to be above a certain level to like be able to learn from the Heart Kingdom,
And
right?
did
Yeah,
and
and he
didn't
just
he have
wasn't.
like months and months of training? Like here's the thing, not months and months of training, but months and months of prep time to fight Dante.
Yeah,
Like
and it was
specifically,
specifically for this specific spell.
yeah. Yeah, it's like okay, yes. Even if you say in that moment he's top 10, it's like you are looking at a hyper specific scenario that doesn't actually apply to him generally.
Yeah,
Zoro's Yam doesn't isn't dark magic like top tier in the
yeah,
verse.
it's like super rare. He's also a
Yeah,
prodigious fighter. Like,
yeah. So having dark magic would be the hack. Like
yeah,
it's like that's the thing. Yeah.
yeah. A little, Landa. Thank you for mentioning that about Bleach. I've also been thinking hard about something else slightly related. It's on this topic, right? But you know, Uryu's dad. Do you get
Yeah.
like retired chosen one energy from him? Because like,
No, I do not.
dude, I do. Because like the guy is just like. He just like I don't know what it is about him, but he seems to ooze talent more than Uryu does. Like when he's like,
Mhm.
no, son. What I said is you don't have the talent and I don't have the interest. Kind of,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah. That's like an iconic line, right? For Uryu's dad, and I'm just like, to me, it signals, yeah, Uryu, listen, if I had any interest, this would be no problem, right? The problem would already be solved, really. But I have no interest, and you're not me,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like,
Let's see. Did you mention Isagi in the Battle Shonen conversation? Even then, Isagi like he has a particular weapon that helps him. Like I don't know. I feel like whenever you talk about like talent and shit, like people I think sort of equate like talent and being naturally good at something as like the antithesis of hard work, but
yeah, I
not
mean,
really the
the whole
case.
point of being a prodigy is that you just are able to learn better. That's
Yeah.
really it. Like you can make
Hmm. Or
the
you have the potential to.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Um, but you know, it's not just because somebody's a child prodigy like in real life, right? Doesn't mean they're like inherently better than like somebody who has just been doing this for 10, 20 years or whatever, or went to school like the normal route. It just means
Hmm.
like they got to that like certain positions faster, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
their overall like abilities are relative, when they're like in the same level. Or it honestly, the whole point of like failed prodigies is that they don't do the hard work, like
Yeah.
Gohan. prime example. The reason he's not
Yeah.
like, you know,
Uh,
one-shotting Beerus right now is because he's
yeah.
going to his job every day.
And often there's levels to being prodigious, right? Like Goku is deemed a prodigy, Piccolo's deemed a
Prodigy,
prodigy.
yeah, which is weird.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, like, but it's like there's levels, and then you have like Frieza and Gohan and Broly, so like and Vegeta, whatever. There's levels to prodigiousness,
yeah,
right? So
like
like yes, most of the people you're going to encounter that are main characters that do things, right, are going to be like either prodigious, have some sort of special talent, special circumstance, or like luck out in some specific way, right? That gives them the ability to do special things. Because like if you just think about it like really, really like fundamentally, right? It's like okay, we're watching these characters because they can do special things, right? And they can do special things consistently. So typically, I think you would think that doing a special thing consistently requires you to be a special person or have special skills. A normal person, like average people are average, right? Like it's like I know it sounds like I'm like joking, but like I think people just sometimes forget like yeah, dude, we're looking at the best of the best of the
best,
best
yeah.
of the best.
Because
Like that's the point.
yeah, because the whole point of competing at that level is that you're there with like other people who are doing the same thing, right? And at that
Yeah.
point, when you're among so many prodigies, it equalizes, and it's just a matter of who worked harder.
Yeah, literally, it's like how okay, well, how prodigious were you? How did you use that? How did you take the like
Natural
raw
gifts or whatever,
talent you
yeah.
had and then you used it properly, right? And yeah, Katara's definitely a prodigy.
Oh, 100%.
Fucking
Yeah.
bro picked up a scroll and said, "Hey, maybe I can waterbend real
Yeah.
quick." Like,
Like
huh?
the only reason she wasn't like Toph level of like Prodigy or whatever is because like Toph had, the original benders to like teach her.
Yeah,
Like Katara's biggest, drawback was that she just didn't have a teacher. And the
yeah.
second she did, oh my god.
She was cooking.
Yeah.
She's literally cooking. Yeah. You know what's funny?
Mm.
Like you're just like Aang was like considered like obviously he's like a prodigy amongst prodigies, and even like on the hardest element to learn, like Earth, he did that shit in like a day, bro. Bro
Yeah.
said, "Damn, Earth is tough." And then like later that afternoon was Earth bending like crazy. I'm like, bro, what? You lied to me.
Yeah,
But yeah, prodigies do be the main characters.
for real.
Um,
And it's funny. I think about like the prodigies who are just like I don't know. It's like Dragon Ball has like the most I think amount of prodigies. Like we're kind of like trolling Bleach a little bit here with their prodigy usage, but like if you want to talk about like prodigy saturation, it's fucking Dragon Ball, man. I remember
yeah.
you and I were talking about this off stream, but we were like going over like the levels to prodigiousness in Dragon Ball, and
Mhm.
the gap between somebody like Piccolo, Vegeta, Gohan, Frieza, Broly, like it's so big that you could argue putting in a different character between them would be like another like relative prodigy to the person below them. Like I think okay, so here's a statement, right? Goten and Trunks have less potential than Gohan. Is my take,
Yeah.
right? Gohan just built different, right?
Yeah.
But they probably have more potential than Piccolo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, Frieza, Broly, Trunks, Goten, like
These are not
I
prodigies
mean I
created
mean
equally.
I mean Krillin, like dude, like Master Roshi took like 50 years to master the Kamehameha.
And
Krillin and
still
Goku
not
he
be
saw
able
it a
to
couple times.
fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, hold on, maybe if I just really try hard. And then they just boom, they just did it. It's like, okay, yes. Yeah.
You know what?
Even the androids, yeah, the androids are crazy.
Yeah. You know who's like actually so lame, but like is still
Mm,
you would still consider them a prodigy among humans?
mm,
Tien,
yeah.
dude,
Yeah, Tien went crazy back in
he
the
is
day.
try hard, right? Absolutely like sweaty about his martial arts, right?
Mhm.
Krillin could like no defense.
It's yeah, it's something.
Yeah. So I think once you get to the Friezas, Brolys, and Gohans of the verse, you're just kind of like you have to insert artificial weaknesses for them to just be like not you know shaking up the
Not
universe
do that,
basically.
yeah.
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 And it's funny, right? Because this kind of translates to like Goku and Vegeta, being the most stable level of prodigy there, where they still have to take a pretty good amount of time to like get to their new levels of power, while at the same time not like rocking the boat too much, so, like without having to train vigorously hard. Like in Dragon Ball Super, I think they've aged about like 10, 12 years from all the hyperbolic time chamber use that they do. Um, and I'm just like, dog. Could Gohan have achieved Ultra Instinct in like 6 months? Like what is going on?
Okay. Here's the thing, right? Goku was not making much progress towards Ultra Instinct pre-Tournament of Power. The Tournament of Power was 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Goku went into it having like we can say like basically no experience with it. Came out with mastered Ultra Instinct. Once again, keep in mind the gods of destruction be trying to master this shit for like thousands of years.
Millions even, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and then Goku said, "Give me 48 minutes."
Yeah.
And Goku gets eclipsed by like Broly, by like Gohan, by Frieza. So I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. There's levels to this.
And if Gohan trained again, I for sure think he can get Ultra Instinct, dude, easily. Like, if Gohan did just the normal training on Beerus's world that Goku and Vegeta started with, there'd be no need to send them to the hyperbolic time chamber that Whis has. Like, he'd get it in, like, 4 months. Like,
Bro said, hold on. He's like, let me catch up. Give me a day, and then I'll surpass you the next day. Cool. I know it's gonna take a little long. I'm a little bit out of practice.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, bro. I haven't been sleeping well. I've just been up late with the baby and work and stuff. But I have like 30 minutes this afternoon if you want to like train. And it's like by the end, he's like, oops, I'm back at the level I was when I fought Cell. Like,
yeah,
dude, he before the Tournament of Power, he was like almost that out of practice, trained with Piccolo for like 2 fights, and was just like, okay, all right, I'm back in fighting shape, let's do this.
Yeah. Goku had to go like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, and I was like, damn, bro, what? You were just like, remember when base form Frieza made you look like a yeah, nah, bro. Yeah, and then Goku's like, Jesus Christ, when'd you get this strong? I was like, yeah, nah.
And this doesn't even like okay, before we get into like the big Prodigy, in my opinion, like Gohan is definitely up there, right? But like, dude, if Gohan really wanted to, like, if you really wanted to commit, I say just be like, whoa, Whis, you're moving with your body on its own without thinking. And Whis is like, why, yes, Saiyan, this is called Ultra Instinct. And he's like, oh shit, let me try.
Nice. Let me do it real quick.
Yeah.
Let me do it real quick.
Right. Yeah. Like, that's Gohan, right?
Mm.
To the point where like Vegeta acknowledges that Gohan is like has more potential than him, which is crazy. Vegeta doesn't acknowledge anybody. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even argue with like Gohan like having more potential than him. He literally recommends Goku like get Gohan. He's like,
bro,
why not
bro,
get
make
your
him
son?
train.
Yeah, like he he has more potential than all of us.
Hold on, let me use the bathroom real quick.
All right, I'll keep it locked in, and then you get to like the biggest prodigy of them all, and that's Frieza, dude. In my opinion, I think Frieza and Gohan and I don't know about Broly yet, but like Gohan and Frieza gotta be like the prodigies among prodigies, dude. Because the way they like Frieza caught up to Super Saiyan God Goku, who at that point had trained years, and also getting like the Super Saiyan like God buff at the beginning of Battle of Gods in 4 months. 4 months. That is record timing. Like, you don't just do that. Like that kind of performance is nasty, okay? And the fact that Frieza's been in the hyperbolic time chamber, I guess spoilers for the Dragon Ball Super manga, the fact that he's been in the hyperbolic time chamber for 10 years, I'm just saying I wouldn't even put it past Black Frieza to be able to like fight Beerus like seriously, maybe even beat him. Like, it's so weird. Dragon Ball's power scaling is just like it's insane to me, because like you'll have these characters reach impossible heights compared to where they were at the Tournament of Power, and you'll just be like, oh wow, Moro and what's his name, Granola, were able to contend with Ultra Instinct Goku for a little bit, and that's like that puts them above Jiren in that regard. And this is like mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, you know, and Goku is still not relative to Beerus, and they're not relative to Beerus, and so like, is Broly relative or like stronger than Beerus? Like there's definitely some interesting fuckery shenanigans going on as far as like Beerus is concerned relative to the rest of the verse. Hey Johnny, what's poppin'? We talking Dragon Ball Super? Yes, we are. Who do you think has more potential, Broly or Gohan? This one's tough. This one's tough, Brendan. So definitely think, I definitely think Broly has more raw potential, but I think he's just I don't know. Like it's difficult because Broly's power ups are so explosive, and he seems to just kind of like skip conventional Saiyan forms. So he does, he hasn't hit the Super Saiyans, ones, two, three. He just kind of goes into Super Saiyan Berserker or whatever it's called. And I don't know if that's like how do you scale that, right? Is like the green Super Saiyan aura like relative to Super Saiyan 3 for like regular Saiyans? Can androids train? Probably, right? Like they don't have a lack of energy. They could theoretically do it for a while, and also seem like capable combatants. They were stronger than Frieza during their debut. Uh, hey, what's up? So yeah, I definitely got to give it to Broly as far as like more raw potential for now, just based off like the explosive levels of power he's able to manifest. But I'm not sure if like with proper training, like is it always explosive? Is it like because I feel like Broly's growth in Dragon Ball Super Broly was like a symptom of him just being exposed to a lot of like top tier combatants all at once and then kind of escalating to their level of power relatively quickly. But I think there's a bit of stagnation there once you get to that level of power because I imagine there's some kind of natural ceiling. Oh my god, not in like a Super Saiyan, he's gonna break through his ceiling kind of moment, like but like a literal like natural ceiling to his learning ability, right? Where it kind of equalizes after a point. But, that's just me speculating. And also, I'm biased towards Gohan. That's my guy right there. Can't have a fucking full blooded Saiyan, beat the goat.
Damn.
What do you think about the Gohan versus Broly potential debate?
Uh, if the Broly movie is anything to go off of is like something he consistently has, then Broly should have more potential, I think.
All right.
But I mean, it's pretty close.
Really?
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna do my bathroom tag in. Everybody like the stream?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, let's see. Yeah, believe me when I say Sugin is gonna kill Kenjaku. I don't think that's out of the picture, like, or out of the question rather. Um, I think it's like very possible for him to do that at like 20 fingers or when he fully manifests or whatever. I don't know if I think 15 fingers Sugin is getting the job done, but I could see that. I could see that happening. I think it probably. See. Let's see. Don't androids have high potential? They do have high potential. Um, let's see. Um, Love that Creams thinks about Bleach and DBZ like this. Got to. Um, where do you guys have Goku Black in the potential scale of what potential or just general power? Because potential, I guess he would have what Goku has, maybe plus some, and actual power, he's not really all that relevant in Super anymore. Yeah, potentially I mean, he's good, I guess, like Goku-ish level, maybe higher, because he has some like unique abilities. Yeah. Have I read Tower of God? I have not read Tower of God. I keep getting recommended that. Um, People keep calling it like the One Piece of like manhwa or webtoons or whatever, but that isn't really something that's super encouraging to me. Like, I don't hear that and I'm like, damn, that means I gotta read Tower of God. You know what I mean? I think they say that because of its world building or something. That's what I've heard at least. But yeah, um, yeah. Potential and fiction is an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing to have conversations with people about that because, like, I don't know. I've noticed that a lot of people I talk to get it in their head that like their favorite anime characters or whatever are like not these super prodigious fighters that are like only where they are in part at least because of like their natural talent. Um, yeah, it's pretty good. Just get through season one. Or if I want to read it though, I have read solo leveling. Solo leveling's cool. I don't know. Solo leveling was especially cool in the early stages. I didn't like it as much as time went on, but it's 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 all right. Like I mean, I like it for what it is. To be honest, it has good art. I can't be mad at it. To be honest, um, but yeah. Let's see. I loved your Hell's Paradise vid. What do you think of the trailer of the anime? I'm super hyped. I'm hyped as well, man. I'm looking forward to looking at Hell's Paradise and see what they got going on, in the anime. Um, I wanna make a review on Hell's Paradise when the anime comes out. I'm kind of excited to do something like that. Um, let's see. Let's see. Uh, yeah. Oh yeah, season one of Tower of God. I never ended up watching that. I don't know. It didn't look all that like not from a story perspective. It just didn't look animated that well to me. Yuji, Megami, and Yuta in the potential scales. Um, so I would have Megami, then Yuta, then Yuji, but they're all very close, and they're close enough to me where like it's fine to place one over the other. Let's see. The Black Clover fans were on my back last night. Appreciate the support, brother. You know I gotta support, bro. Not only are you the homie, but you're hating on Black Clover. Yeah, bro. Match made in heaven for real. Got to. Yeah, but they were going crazy. They were going crazy. Yeah, they were going nuts in there. And I have finished Kaguya-sama, by the way. Peak romance manga for real. Um, yeah. Sad to see it go, but it's like it's nice to have been a fan for Jesus years now and finally get to see it wrap up. It's kind of nice. So I may revisit it soon. I wanna like talk about Kaguya-sama at least once in some capacity because I really do like that series. Um, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Chainsaw Man, JJK. Huh. Talk about Percy Jackson like a battle shonen. Listen, you may be joking. I don't know if you're joking or not, but maybe you already got something like that in the works. Who knows? Maybe. Listen. Percy's taking them all out because he's different. Um, let's see. Percy over all of them. I would put Nico over Jason, and then I put Talia over Jason. I think Jason's like the weakest of those four. I feel like Percy's is very self-explanatory. He's him, right? Right? I mean, he kind of washed Jason in his natural habitat. Um, and you know, that's that. Nico, I just feel like got that potential. He got that dog in him, and Talia, I just feel like probably maybe putting Talia over Jason's kind of biased. I might be crazy for that.
Me personally, I'm low diffing all the characters in Percy Jackson.
I'll see you later, man.
uh,
Nah, but seriously, don't say some blasphemous shit like that again to my face. Thank you.
oh man. Uh, can you guys name underrated seinen manga? Have you heard of this niche little series called Berserk?
Berserk, yeah, bro. It's an underground manga. I'm surprised you heard of it.
Yeah.
That, and if you're looking for another one, Vagabond is also like pretty underground.
Also, I'm looking for this one comment that called Hell's Paradise one of the Dark Three. Oh my god, dude! What I've been seeing that. What do you think of that? The Dark Trinity.
Dark Trio or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. I just look at it as like a category of manga that they feel like seem similar.
I definitely get it. I think there's definitely things in common, mixed with like I don't know demographics of release, but it's just like it's funny. It's amusing, if you will. But you were saying, you were talking about Percy Jackson. You were saying the video's coming out relatively soon.
I was just saying. I think Landa mentioned something about like some like talk about Percy Jackson like it's a battle shonen, and I was saying like you may be joking, but that may or may not be happening soon. Possibly, potentially, maybe. But yeah. So that's all I was saying in that regard.
Percy Jackson's so funny to me because whenever I hear about it, and I hear about it often, we won't say how.
As you should.
Right. It's the thing with like the alternative gods. Like for me, raises like so many questions because I asked the person who was telling me this. So what's the deal here? Like is it, are they born of belief? Is that how godhood is like produced in the Percy Jackson verse? Like is it like if I believe in a random god I make up, do they then kind of spring into being?
No.
If so, does this mean the Abrahamic god is canonically present in the Percy Jackson vid because on sheer numbers he's got the support up there?
Yeah, so wrong order. They're there, and that people believe because they're there.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So
Uh,
let me ask you this, right? Um,
hmm
a detail that I really enjoyed, uh, it was like the Roman equivalent of Poseidon is so much weaker than Poseidon because Rome didn't have as robust a navy as the Greeks. Is this true? Is that like
it,
the power
it's
system basically?
it's not even like that he's weaker. He's just not respected. Like people don't like him because, like, in opposed to like Greek or whatever, we need a Greek god manga. Jesus, Johnny, you get it, bro. You get it. You know ball for real, bro. You understand how the
Written
game is
by
kind of.
BR, drawn by Creams. Listen, bro,
No,
dude,
I don't know if I need you attached to this one,
listen,
buddy.
Johnny. If I was to
Um,
train right now in art and grind it out every day, 18 hours a day for the next 2 years, you would get one level artwork.
yeah, bro. Listen, I'd also if I if I did do it, it would it'd have to be consistent. So sorry.
Was that a slight on me?
Yeah,
Ain't
kinda.
that is crazy. That is
No,
crazy.
but no, but yeah, that'd be dope. That would be crazy. That'd be crazy though. Jesus is canonical in the Percy Jackson universe. I don't
No way.
remember if they like outright confirm him, but like Percy and like the Lightning Thief asked if like God is real or whatever, like capital G.
Right?
And Chiron kind of like just is like that's a different matter, right? Like
What?
that's kind of its own thing.
Its own
Um,
thing. That's such a
like
nice
it's
little evasion from Riordan,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, because it's like I don't like it could be possible that he's brought up in a more like matter of fact manner later. But from what I remember, that is the time they like touch on it, and it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know if I want to deal with that right now. So we'll say that is a different matter. Paula talks about Jesus one time. Oh my God,
Bro,
that's
see,
funny.
I feel like a real Percy Jackson fan would have known that.
I mean I guess. Hey, I'm a fake one. I don't give a fuck.
Yes, you do.
Um,
Come on, Bjor.
I do
Who are you fooling?
not.
Yes, you do. What are you doing? Who
I
do you
don't care
think you're
about the
fooling?
status. I don't care about the status of being a real fan of anything. Unlike you, I'm not a dick eater. I'm just a supporter, man.
Absolutely, positively, provably not true. Listen, bro.
Interesting. And provably not true. Would
Listen.
you like me to try otherwise? Ah, that's what I thought.
Hold
So,
on.
yeah, no, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Bro froze. He said, "Oh, yeah. It's too bad for you." Anyways, um,
Like the stream guys, we're out here.
yeah, um, yeah. Oh, they said. Oh, I do remember them bringing up Moses. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, yeah. Anyways, Percy
Also,
Jackson's the goat.
for the person who said draw a god manga, I think the closest one is probably Record of
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Yeah, okay, you thought
Mhm.
about that too.
Yeah, but I need something a little bit. You know what? I'll just take an adaptation of Percy Jackson in manga form, I
I mean,
guess,
there already
if
is
someone's
one.
offering
It's
a
as a graphic
manga or comic book.
comic book.
Yeah. I'm not a loser. No, that's crazy. It's crazy. Nah. Yeah, nah. If it's not in black and white, not really my style. Nah, but yeah. I'll take a manga form too, though.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah,
is that it for this episode?
yeah,
You
I
think?
think so.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for coming out, you guys. Thank you again to our lovely mods. Thank you to Liv for making this awesome thumbnail. Thanks for joining us on this break week where we talked about the fall of Weekly Shonen Jump and how BR said he could write Percy Jackson better than Riordan. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and
Insane.
subscribe. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, all those, or Apple Podcasts, whatever the fuck they're called. Yeah, we're here every
Yeah.
Sunday. Later.
Peace.